I never trust a little kid in a suit.
No,
if you see a little
no.
kid in a suit,
They're not as qualified as they pretend to be.
welcome to TableStop. This is a podcast where four best friends talk about board games, video games, and just a bunch of other random bullshit. I'm Dan.
I'm Ritter.
I'm Rainey.
And I'm Kyle.
We're four best friends that just love talking about random shit. We're here to talk about the kind of games that we're doing right now in our lives, mostly video game and board game related, but we're also going to talk about all our other interests that we're currently involved in. And typically, they may or may not be related to board games or video games, so yeah.
Full disclosure, there's your warning.
Yeah.
Also, there's going to be a heavy shark porn theme in this
No.
episode.
Absolutely. There
Gotta
will
get them.
be a lot of unironic actual Shrek standing, so if you're here for Shrek memes
I don't even know
and
what that
you're a
meant.
fake Shrek fan, you can get the fuck out of here.
Oh, jeez.
We'll fight you fake Shrek fans. I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm Shrek neutral.
You tell me the order
Lawful Shrek.
of your favorite 4 Shrek movies, and if the 4th one is your number 4, get the fuck out of here. Because it's obviously better than the 3rd one, you fake Shrek fan.
What one did you make me watch? I don't even remember.
I made you watch the 1st and the 2nd one.
It was the
We're
second.
watching them in order.
Okay. So
Gang, bring it in. Bring it in,
Gang,
guys. We're
gang.
2 minutes into this podcast. You've already alienated, like, 3 of our grandparents that are watching this.
I'm sorry.
my grandparents are not watching this.
My grandparents can't watch this.
Most of mine are dead.
Oh,
so
no
they
one
don't
can watch
either.
this. Wow.
Oh,
All right.
Dead grandparent joke in the first 5
Oh, I
minutes.
didn't realize it was the dead thing.
Kyle's
I
got
thought it
all
was the
4
watching
of
a
his
podcast.
Oh, no,
grandparents.
yeah, that's where I was going. I was going for that dark humor.
Oh.
I'm kind of the
Kyle's
bad
4
boy
for
of this
4.
podcast.
Oh.
Ooh, bad boy.
Bad.
Man, sad parent stuff. I told Kyle some stuff about my childhood yesterday that I didn't even know was sad until he just looked heartbroken, like I just kicked a puppy in front of him, and I was like, maybe that was a little fucked up.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's a good one.
Good
That's all I
story.
got.
Good story.
Sometimes you don't think it be like it is, but it do.
Sometimes it be like that. So, to get on to this video game, board game kind of track, before Kyle and I came here today, we played one of the missions on Anthem, which, by the way, beat the main story in 3 days, and now I'm max 30, and I can't really do much of anything. I'm just trying to get better to where I can play hard mode without dying, despite being level 30. But right now, Kyle and I are making our way through the missions with Matthias that were like in the demo that they released. Kyle is making his way through those so that we can continue on the main story. You know, the one where he splits.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So, is there a level harder than hard?
Oh my god, yeah. There's like hard, and then there's like expert, and there's Grandmaster 1, 2, and 3.
It goes from easy, medium, hard, and then Grandmaster 1, 2, and 3. That's
Oh,
the
so
6
there's not an
difficulties.
expert. So, yeah, there's Grandmaster 1, 2, and 3, and apparently Grandmaster 3 is, like, insane. Like, my like, dude is probably, like, around 402, I think, like, 402 in, like
item level?
power with all this
Yeah.
stuff. It recommends you're at least 500 to even think about looking at Grandmaster 3.
And that's purely by loot drops is the only way that you're going to get higher
Yeah,
numbers.
I've got a few masterwork, like, guns right now. I haven't got any other masterwork stuff. I don't even know if anything else comes in masterwork, but if you want to get, like, any of that legendary stuff, you kind of have to do, like, Grandmaster.
See, I could understand where it becomes a DPS race because you have limited ammo. Because I've tried to fight things that are out of my level range before, and the way that I know I'm not ready to fight them is I run out of ammunition.
Well, it's ability focused, like the entire game is. So if you run out of ammunition, you have to kind of rely on your abilities at that point.
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't really worry about ammo because as a storm, I have all that lightning and ice stuff. So ammo's really just something I use while I'm waiting for my other powers to recharge, like cooldown.
I said, well, I was playing Ranger, and I had the rocket and a grenade. And those did like 100 and 200 damage. And that was like it. So it was not very high damage. And of course, every bullet out of like an SMG was doing like 20. So it was at least an upgrade from that.
Once you
Yeah.
get to the point where you can actually like make builds that combo off of one, like the abilities that combo off of one another, you do a lot more damage. With
Then
your
this is
abilities.
all in free play, and I don't know if you're like supposed to solo these things out here, but like in free play, I've seen one other person, like at max. I never see other people in free play.
Yeah, I don't really interact with other people in free play either. I mostly just will go in there with Kyle or something like that. I have a big issue where 90% of the time I go into free play, I end up like server disconnecting and losing all the loot that I got, which is a problem I imagine that they'll be working on. I've noticed I have a couple bugs with it, like the Matthiases are split into 3 at this point for me, but there's always a little blip on my map that says Matthias wants to talk to me.
Spoiler alert, by
And
the way.
it won't go.
Oh.
It's on the demo.
Well, not everybody's played the
The
demo.
only thing I'm bringing up is the demo thing. That's the only mission I'll actually like specifically like mention because that was in the demo. Whatever. But it constantly is saying now that I need to talk to Matthias, and every time I even get near to the building where they're all 3 standing in, it disappears. And I'm like, okay. And I have that with another NPC as well, where it says I need to talk to them, and then when I get near them, it disappears, and they're just standing there, and they're like, what the fuck do you want from me? And so I can't even speak to them. So I'm hoping that they will fix a couple of those bugs as time goes on, because right now that's it's really my main issue with the game. I don't like doing free play because I usually lose all my loot, and it won't let me talk to a couple people.
Lame. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing I ran into. I ran a mission 3 times, and the 3rd time it finally counted and gave me all my stuff.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the game overall right now, but it does have its issues they need to fix, and the content's kind of lacking at the moment. Like she just said, she beat the game in like 3 days.
I did. It's
Kind of hit the
true.
level cap, and all you can do is really grind the dungeons over and over at that point.
But I'm not going to give anything away, of course. But after you do the main mission, it alludes to like a big new arc coming up. And there's supposed to be an Act 1 coming out in March already. So that's supposed to add a whole new arc to it, I'm pretty sure. So with Act 1 coming out so soon, it's basically like another big part to the game. So I'm not too upset by it. Right now it's just good time to kind of play with everyone, and Kyle's real behind me because I marathoned it in like a weekend while he was doing other stuff.
Yeah, I'm still trying to catch up.
So he's only level like 20, so it's a good time to like kind of beef him up, and I just accompany him with missions.
That last message I sent you guys saying that the mission that I went through is the last time I played it. So I just haven't been on. I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV. Picked that up again.
Saw those almonds.
Yeah, I have no
yeah,
idea
the
what
almonds.
any of those games are about, by the way. There's 14 of them. I don't know what a single one of them's about.
None of them deal with any other,
Exactly.
except for like the 10-2s,
Yeah,
14-2s.
There's no 14-2.
I thought there was 14. No, 13.
14's the MMO. 13 has
Lightning
like 5.
Returns. Yeah.
There's 13, 13-2, 13 Lightning Returns, and then I think another 13 somehow.
Is it the dude with the bird in his hair? Does he return?
I have
Where did he
no
go?
idea. I know who you mean because I've played like a couple hours of the first one. I don't know if he appears in the second because I haven't played it. I might own it. I don't know. Steam's funny like that.
This is going to be a weird question, but was 13 good? Because I remember being kind of interested in it, but everybody was like, oh, it's just a hallway. The whole game's just a hallway.
I mean, it's not 7. It's not even 8. It's certainly not 4.
Is it 10? Because I love me
It's-
some 10.
The battle system's weird.
Is it where they were trying to do that live action thing where like instead of it being turn based like 12 was?
Well, it's active time battle.
Yeah.
So whenever your turn comes up, you attack. Fine. But you have so many roles that the person fits into. Like you had Sentinel, you had Healer, and you had DPS. Those are I remember Sentinel clearly, and I don't remember what the other ones are called. And I think there was Leader. I think there was like 4 of them or something like that. And if you go into a fight and you didn't have a Sentinel, you were just going to die. That's just the way that it was. Like, that you had to have somebody tanking things. So it kind of made it so that you had to have a balanced party, but it just did things in a kind of an odd way. And if you didn't have a healer, then you just constantly had to be swapping around because your party changes so rapidly. Like, party members just leave and get up and split. Like, after you get out of tutorial land, I'm pretty sure half your party splits. And you get, like, the guy with the bird in his hair goes one way with the weird chick, and Lightning and that kid Hope, like, go another way.
Kid
or
Hope.
something. Yeah, I know. I think his name's Hope. He's got a boomerang. It's a cool boomerang.
Man, okay. Real talk though. You play 10, right?
I have. I beat 10.
Who was your party? Who were your mains?
I used everyone because
You
that's
use
what I
it-
do.
That's so good. 'Cause
I get, yeah.
All right, I had Titus and I had Orin.
Yeah.
And then I switched out Uni to Lulu if I needed some black magic, or Walk if I needed to do air. I wanted to get into what's her face, chick blonde-
Riku.
Riku. I wanted to get into Riku because I like the whole combining thing.
Yeah.
but I don't know. I just liked big boys doing big damage.
There's that mechanic that they carry over into Bravely Default of like combining items to do a cool thing. I think they call him an alchemist or whatever in Bravely Default. But yeah, whatever Riku's character type fulfills is neat. So I had them all at a good level, and I'm pretty sure I would bounce between a Titus Waka Uni party and then Orin Lulu Riku party.
R.I.P.
I never
Kimari.
used Kimari.
Kimari has
I
some
didn't-
weird things.
He's the blue mage. He's supposed to copy enemy abilities,
Yeah.
and if you don't get the enemy abilities, he's kind of lackluster.
So you kind of have to throw him in when you're grinding out levels.
It's the enemy skill thing in Final Fantasy VII. It's just not my favorite thing to do. That being said, I have not played Blue Mage in Final Fantasy XIV, even though they just put it out. So maybe my opinion will slightly change of that. I don't know.
Blue Mage.
Are the Final Fantasy still turn-based, or is that long gone?
15 was not.
Oh, okay. 'Cause that was the main reason why I haven't really played them, because turn-based RPGs, I can't really play them.
I don't think 12 was either. 12 had that active system.
Right.
12 was really good though.
10 is turn-based, and then 10-2 throws it out for active time battle, which I don't know why.
R.I.P. 10-2. God, that game had. I don't know. That game let me down.
I have played like 5 minutes.
Have you tried to get the perfect? Okay, so I tried to get the perfect ending, right?
Yep.
And it's ridiculous.
Right.
You have.
I played the opening like 5 times because it says to get the perfect ending, you have to talk to this dude in a Moogle suit, right?
Yes.
So I'm looking around. I'm like, there's no fool in a Moogle suit here. And then you find him. He's crouched over in a ball behind some boxes that you're supposed to know. And talking to him gets you a % of completion.
I got like 30% through that game trying to 100% it. Did not do. I was like, okay, Uni and Titus's love story is not this important to me. I don't care. He can continue.
He's
doing
just
his thing.
holding his breath, too. Did you get to that part of the thing where Uni's like, I'm up to 5 minutes holding my breath now? How?
Is that possible?
No! 3 minutes, you die!
Let me Google that.
So, did you say love story? Can you date people in this game?
No, there's like a preset love story between
It's the
main.
canonical.
I gotta be real
It's
with you.
not
If you
Persona.
can have like dating in a game, that ups it like 100% to me. Like that's my one complaint about Anthem. I can't date any of the pretty girls. What's up with that?
Can I
Hey,
make a
You can
Anthem?
date
suggestion?
Mass Effect. I've been trying to get you to play that for a
Anthem,
while.
what's up with that? Give me a pretty girlfriend.
You got a PS4, right?
I do have a PS4.
Persona 5.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, I've been playing a lot of Monster Prom on my computer, which is a lot of fun. Date a cool monster. I got rejected by the robot character. That was a pretty big low in my life. That I was rejected literally just by a robot. He's just like an old computer. It was rough. It was a
Lame.
rough time. I asked him to prom, and he just went, formulating excuse, goodbye, and left.
Wow.
I was like, oh.
So what, do you have to have smarts for him or something?
See, that's what I thought. I went in there and I was like, I'm gonna boost my smarts. He's an intelligent dude. He's literally a robot. That's all he's gonna care about. I'm gonna boost it. And then, like, most of his responses, like, you had to have high charm and high, like, creativity for. And I was like, come on, dude. So I imagine I'll try it again at some point when my ego has healed over from being rejected by a robot. And I'll actually kind of put more into charm and creativity. It's just...
What about Stardew Valley?
You know,
Stardew
I haven't played
Valley.
that, but Hannah, our good friend Hannah, Ritter's girlfriend,
Hi.
she
you
played
dog.
it.
Ritter, you dog!
I do, what? Yeah, enough. All right.
She,
Stardew.
she played it, and can I say her strategy was to try to give people things that they didn't want. She was just like slamming gifts on them, and they were like, "I don't want this," and she was like, "Too fucking bad." And then she went to like the big harvest dance or whatever is in it, and not a single person would even dance with her. Like they all were just like, "Oh, actually, I'd rather just stand here alone." And she got so upset she hasn't played it since. So I haven't played it, but she did, and she did awful.
See, I think you can brute force Harvest Moon like that. You just give dudes a piece of grass that you picked up off the ground and they'll be like, oh, hey,
Here's some
thanks. And eventually it'll work.
Stardew
She
Valley has a weird chart where, like, there's a lot of things that will be neutral that won't raise the relationship level. There's a
Well,
couple
there's
like key items that dude or lady dude loves,
Mhm.
and a couple of items that dude or lady dude hates.
Yeah, there's like a fancy dude that she was like obsessed with because he was so fancy, living by like the sea.
Yeah,
And
Sebastian.
she was constantly just trying to give him seashells, and he was like, "I don't want seashells. I live by the sea." And she was like, "Okay, but how about 2 seashells? And he's
Wait.
like, no.
Can I change your mind with 3 seashells?
Yeah, she just kept throwing
Have you
seashells
seen
at
these
him.
things? They're crazy. He just looks out his front door, and his yard is just an ocean
Yeah, he's
of
just like,
seashells.
he's like, I don't want these seashells. She's like, but you live by the sea. You must love seashells. He's like, I live by the sea. Seashells are literally everywhere. Please leave me alone. You
It makes
crazy
sense.
girl.
There's a whole wiki that it's like, yo, you want to date that sea dude? Here's all the things that he loves.
See, that's definitely shit I take the time to look up. Like, Fallout 4, I've been dating that sweet girl Piper. Since the moment I met her, I was like, you must be mine. I was, like, obsessed with her. I was in love with her instantly. And, got her as my girlfriend through a lot of work. I quick saved and reloaded asking her out 24 times before she finally said yes. Like, it's like a small percentage that she'll say yes to going out with you. So I just kept reloading over and over and over until she was like, I do love you. And I was like, yeah, baby.
Piper.
But she hates stealing. So even though I am the most chaotic thief ever when it comes to playing games, I won't. It's the biggest, like...
Just send her away. Be like, hey, Piper, go over there.
Is that a
It's the
rabbit over there?
biggest self-control
Rabbit?
thing
Yeah.
ever, because I'm just like, I want this, but Piper's watching, and I just slowly pull away from it. I'm like, I can't steal in front of my girlfriend. She'll get upset. She
She don't like that.
She don't like that.
Why
She's
didn't
a
you
noble
find the
girl.
girlfriend who likes stealing?
Because
Kate,
Piper's so
right?
good. Her personality's so sweet. I mean, she's like one of those hard-hitting journalists that wants to bring the truth to the people, and she's all about dismantling corruption, being awesome, and she's so cool, and she's get out there, and she's like, I don't care if you hate me. Here's the truth. And I was like, wow, I'm in love. So I can't steal. I'm not allowed.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Such a moral compass.
You do what you do for love.
I
Indeed.
would do anything
No!
for...
Stop! Stop! No!
Just cut that out right now.
Out. All right.
But I won't do that.
I don't even know that song. Who sings that?
Meatloaf.
Okay, keep it that way.
Ooh, dang. Sick
I need
burn.
some ointment for that 3rd degree burn.
Right. Okay, so what game have you been playing, Kyle, other than Anthem?
Other
3,
than
2, 1, go!
Oh, too much pressure.
Recently played through Hollow Knight.
Okay, there you go.
Oh
Yeah.
man, Hollow Knight was so good.
Did you beat it?
I beat it. I got the bad ending. I wanted to go through and get like all the unlocks to get the good endings and actually fight all the bosses.
Kyle's notorious for getting the bad ending of like every fucking game we play ever. He never gets a good ending. We played Ib, which is like a super old kind of like a horror game that you can get on your PC for free. Good game, by the way. Multiple endings. He got the worst one in that. We played Until Dawn. At the very last moment, he killed like 4 out of the 6 people and got a really bad ending in that.
Still not the worst.
Not the worst, but
Not the
he
best.
does. He's notorious for getting bad endings.
Can everyone die in a sidebar quickly? It's a
Oh,
sidebar. Can
absolutely.
everyone yeah. You just have an
Absolutely.
ending where everyone's dead.
Oh yeah, everybody can die. You can kill every single person. There are a couple characters that are important, so they can't die till like close to the very end. Like Mike and that. Oh my god, that one blonde bitch that takes like a really weird bath.
Oh.
Anyway, she can't. Yeah, you know the obligatory scene with that or whatever. But
Never played it, so.
Oh well,
Yeah,
they can't die until really close to the end because they're like the 2 main characters you play the most.
So you can't
But
just
they can
speed run
die.
it and kill everyone
You
in the
know,
car.
it would take
on
a
the way
little
there.
work to speedrun it for sure. There's only like so many instances where they can die.
Got
Hey,
it.
Anyway, back
go
to Hollow
on.
Knight.
Yes, back to Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight, what? Oh, this.
Yes.
Yeah, so like I got this real bad habit where it's like, oh man, this is the best game ever. Like I did with Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
I put like 5-6 hours, get a couple bosses in, and then I kinda fell out and forgot.
Well, you
what-
didn't beat the game?
I didn't. I don't
Really?
beat games. I'm real bad at beating games.
Oh man, it's so good though.
Talk to me about Persona 5, yeah. He's on he's like last dungeon. It's like, I'm gonna stop it here. Ooh.
I just get distracted. There's too many games.
There are. a
There
lot
are
of
way
games.
too many
There are
games.
way too many games. Game
Too
makers.
many games?
Game makers, bring it in. Hey, game makers, stop making so many games.
Don't listen to him. Keep making games, please.
Exactly.
Hey,
There's
game
too many
makers,
games.
Game makers, can we just take a year off so we can like catch up? Maybe just
No,
like
no,
a
Gotta
we
get
year.
good.
Game makers, can you pay my rent so I can just play games? Thanks. Love you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
But no, I really liked everything about Hollow Knight. I liked the art style. I liked the enemies. I liked like the Dark Souls-esque. You want the story, you figure it out.
You want the
yeah.
story? Go
It
get
wasn't.
it.
It wasn't buried under like a wall of text for like a lot of other games like Destiny and Dark Souls.
You didn't have to read like item descriptions.
Yeah, there was like some stone tablets every once in a while that you read, but for the most part, it was like you see this giant statue and it's in the shape of like a Hollow Knight or something like that. Like, oh, what happened here? And there's like claw marks and you just kind of piece together the story out of the environment. Because I learned that they actually made the game and made all the art in the environment and stuff like that, and then made a lore around that.
That's awesome.
And then officially said that there's no lore to the game, it's just whatever your interpretation of the environment is. And that's just so cool to me.
That's my favorite kind of thing. Like, there's this, they call it a walking simulator, but like this indie game called, what was it called? Gone Home?
Gone Home?
Gone Home, yeah. Where you just play this like girl coming home from college in 1995, and then there's no one in the
I
house.
was born that year.
That's gross.
No,
I got
okay.
trophies
No.
from Little League that year.
You didn't do Little League. Quit
I did
lying.
Little League.
You don't know how to ball.
I had sports glasses that were
They
like
make
these.
you wear sport glasses?
No, I wanted them because I thought I saw a basketball player on a basketball card one time wear them, and I was like a wee lad, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. But they were just basically safety glasses with my prescription in it and a headband. That was so cool.
Oh.
Anyways,
You unlocked some lore with Dan. Dan did a sport.
I did Little
Did a
League
sport,
for
yeah.
a couple years. It was boring. I think
bet.
I sat out in the outfield and picked grass,
Oh.
and then they made me a catcher. I wasn't good at it.
Anyway, what happened in
Gone Home.
1994?
Oh yeah.
95,
So it's
please.
this game where you come home from college and there's nothing telling you. There's no like tutorial going, oh man, you're just home from college, but no one's home. This is weird. So you kind of just explore the house and like the environments themselves tell you the story. Like you go into your dad's study and like you see like a piece of copy that he's writing because he's a copy editor now, but then you find a book and you're like, oh, that's my dad's name on it. Okay, he must have wrote this. I don't know, it's just, I'm not explaining it very well, but it does a really good job explaining the backstory of all the other characters that aren't actually in the game through the environment.
Without
That
just
is
like
really
throwing it in your
nice.
Yeah.
face with like exposition and stuff.
Yeah, 'cause-
Story through subtext games like that, I love those so much.
Yes, except when it's like too vague. Like it's a really sweet spot you have to find where it's like open to interpretation, but not literally so vague where you're like, what the fuck is even like happening right now? Because I played like an indie game on the PC and it was so bad I couldn't tell you the name if I tried. Some weird thing about a big bird and war and something.
Bird War.
But I gotta be honest, I left the game and I just was like, what? I like Googled stuff like what was this? I literally Googled what was this game about because I had no idea what was even happening with it. And 90% of the people were just going, "Hey, what was that about? I don't know what happened." Like the game creator even came out and was like, "We don't know." And I was like, "Why did you make this?" I was like, "Why'd you do this?"
What is this?
So-
What was that
Why
game
did you
had me play on
create-
Steam with like the kids sneaking in the factory?
Inside.
Inside. Yeah, that was
Inside.
a good
Okay.
example of that.
All right, that's a good game.
That
Same
hits that
universe
good
as
spot.
that Purgatory
Limbo.
game, Limbo. Same kind of universe, same creators, not really a sequel or anything, but very, very similar vibe. Very kind of like melancholic, creepy, weird, somber vibe to it. I watched Achievement Hunter play it, a big YouTube channel I'm a big fan of. Watched them play through it, and I went, I must make Kyle play this. I absolutely must force him to sit down and play this. It was a really good game.
Was it?
It's really enjoyable. Very weird. It has one of those kind of open-ended endings where you like don't 100% know what happened, but I still like felt fulfilled when it was over. Like I wasn't like, the fuck was even that about? Like what was the point of that? Like there was a lot of the environment around it that you could kind of like pick from and learn a lot about what was like going on in that kind of world that they set up through just like little background bits and pieces and quick flashes, and it was really, really good.
Yeah.
Hollow Knight, all three endings of Hollow Knight are kind of like that too. Like
Nice.
the ending's very vague, but you still feel sated afterwards after playing it.
It's a good feeling. It really is a good feeling.
It is.
I know the first thing that ever like the ending made me mad because it was so open-ended was I read the short story The Lady and the Tiger for one of my classes in middle school. And I remember getting to the end of that and I went, what the fuck was that? I remember being so pissed that I didn't know which one that he opened the door for. Do you guys know what that short story
Not
is?
even
No idea.
one clue.
Oh, well, it's this guy that has an affair with like a super barbaric princess.
As you do.
Oh,
And it's
that's
like
fine for
her
school.
king is also the king is also very barbaric, and they don't go into like all the things they've done. They just say she's like a barbaric brute woman. And
I bet it was butt stuff.
maybe, but she's a barbaric brute woman, and she's cruel and everything. Well, he has like an affair with her, and she's like totally in love with him. But then he like falls in love with another girl, who's like a really sweet, very nice girl who lives in like the same village or whatever. And she's beautiful and she's great and everything. And he's like, man, I'm in love with her. Well, I think like the king finds out about the affair with the princess and him, and he's like, all right, well, you're going to trial. And I guess there's like a weird thing in this like world where people like are put on trial and they're put into this like gladiator arena, and you like pick one of two doors. One of them is a beautiful woman, and then you get to marry her and you're pardoned of your crime and you move off with them and you're happy. The other is literally a tiger that kills you instantly.
What if you killed the tiger?
Well, that's never happened. I imagine there'd be something, but it's
Hey,
like
there was a guy that choked a mountain lion on a hike like a few weeks ago. The mountain lion
saw
attacked
a
him,
thing.
and he actually choked the mountain lion to death.
I saw a Yahoo News thing about it. It's like, yeah, that lion he killed was actually just an orphaned kitten. Like, I don't know if they were trying to be on the lion's side or
Oh.
what.
Oh,
Does
I mean,
Yahoo have a
it was
pro
still
lion?
attacking
on the lion
him.
side.
oh.
I mean, that's probably a weird issue to tackle.
Anyways.
It's a very gray area. But
Yeah.
so like in this weird world, like if you choose the woman, you're pardoned of crimes. If you choose the lion, you die for your crimes. And the king's sitting up there, and the princess is also sitting up there, and she knows where the lion is and where the woman is. And at the very last second, she tells him which one to pick. But the story never tells you if the barbaric, jealous princess put aside her jealousy, that way the man she loved could live happily, or if she was like, fuck you, I get you or nobody else does, and points him towards the lion. So you never actually get to know if he chose the tiger or the girl, which way the prince. It's supposed to be thoughtful, like, what do you think the princess did? Do you think that she was like a barbarian that was like, fuck you? Or did she like overcome her jealousy for true love? Like, did she want him to be happy even if it wasn't with her?
I could see the worksheet that your teacher hands you after you read this.
It's just like a litmus test to find out which students are pessimistic or not.
Yeah, it is. But like, I got done with it and I was like kind of pissed. As like a little middle schooler, I wanted closure.
Right. They have to have the third category for the students who are ticked.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's...
this was the worst. I wanted to marry the tiger. That's my
He's
kink.
been a furry
No,
all along.
please.
Tiger kinks.
Stop.
You get
That's how
the,
it's a secret third. Which one of these children is an aspiring furry?
Right. Noted.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I was pretty upset back then. I like the closure of things, so it was kind of like, what was even the point?
I feel like a lot of anime does the open-ended thing very often.
It's like, I get it that it's thoughtful. I get it. I understand. It's poetic. Blah blah blah. Which one did he pick? Please tell me.
Dear author,
Slide it
you
under
need
the
to
door.
Write your congressman.
Yes.
dear
Like,
Congressman, did the dude
Please,
get his
Congress.
lady or did he get lioned?
Whisper
Right.
it in my ear. I promise I won't
Was it a
tell
lion
anyone.
lady?
Well,
We
you've gone
don't
back to
know.
furry. You've gone back to furry.
Yeah,
right?
that's I was.
Ritter.
It's because we established this already.
Tony
You
the
dog.
tiger, but with titties.
No, that's too far. That's much too far. That's 8 shades of too far.
Remember when Tony the Tiger's Twitter was like
No.
bombarded with furries that were messaging him stuff like "Feed me cereal, daddy," and they like had to be like,
Nope.
They had to like make
Please.
a public thing like, "Please stop hitting on Tony the Tiger. We're just trying to sell cereal to kids. Please stop." People
Were
were
they
like,
after-
"Ooh, daddy, choke me," and he was like, "I'm just a tiger trying to sell cereal."
There's gonna be fools after the Kool-Aid Man next. I don't
Oh,
even know what that
100%.
identity is.
Chester Cheetah, I imagine, has a lot of like weird fans that love coked out cheetahs. Like they got to be super
Is he
into it.
coked out?
He looks a little fucked up. Let's be real.
I mean, just
here.
because he's wearing sunglasses,
He looks a little twitchy.
You
I don't.
can't tell
I mean,
what those eyes are.
You
they
can't
might be
tell.
red.
They're
How-
just bloodshot and like wild.
How's he twitchy from a still image?
Just look at him. Have you not seen the commercials with him?
I guess I haven't paid attention to the Chester Cheetah
There's that
lore.
one
Gives
time
me
he
a
did an
vibe.
entire line of coke and then drove kids to Las Vegas and left them there.
Yeah, that was a weird commercial. That took a dark turn.
Isn't that the plot to, like, I don't know, some movie, The Hangover 3 or something?
Yeah, dude, one.
Third
That was Hangover 1.
That's not Hangover 1.
That's Hangover 1.
Not exactly Hangover 1, but
It's-
very
it's
similar to
close.
Hangover 1. Yeah, surprisingly similar to Hangover 1.
So, for the viewing audience out there, Ritter isn't a movie dude. He just doesn't like him. It's cool. We accept him the way he is.
Is it cool?
Except we don't really accept him the way he is because we make him watch movies like all the
we
time.
were all-
tried so hard. to
Movie
get him to watch
education
movies.
is what we're doing with him.
It's not going to happen.
One day.
His favorite movie, by the way, so far is Shrek.
Sure,
Just
of
wanna
the
throw that
7
out there.
movies I've seen, I guess we could put
This
Shrek
is
up
over.
there.
This is over Starship Troopers and the new Mad Max.
Oh,
movie.
And
Starship.
Hot Fuzz.
Speaking of open-ended endings, Starship Troopers. Let me just start my letter right here. There is no resolution. There is no indication of anything that they're going to do in the future. It's just to fight. Guess what? We're still having war. Thanks for watching this movie.
I think the dude who wrote the Star Trooper books was like really anti-war, and that was the point, that the war was never going to end. I could be totally making that up. Don't fact check me.
Okay.
Don't at me.
What is
Speaking
even
of
okay.
unending war, this is a good segue into the Warhammer universe. 40K.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
War never,
Alright.
war never
Sorry,
ends.
tap out for
Clean
it.
segue.
Yeah.
So,
Not exactly the
a
cleanest.
large
but-
portion of at least mine and Kyle's rants on this podcast will probably pertain to the 41st millennia in Games Workshop. If you're not familiar with Warhammer, how deep do you want me to go? How deep of a well do you want? Do you want me to? You want the 10,000 foot view? Do you want a 40,000 foot view?
We could just tell them that it's just a sci-fi universe. It's just a bunch of war and grimdark and aliens
Grimdark?
and space marines and stuff. That's about it, really.
Because I could rant. I could rant about how the Emperor is just a new chaos god.
We gotta have
Don't you
content for
start.
future episodes. We can have like a segment of like Dan's rants of 40K, and I can just provide some stuff.
I could try to do my Alex Jones voice. Now the Emperor's just a globalist.
He's a gay
You
frog.
don't talk about the Emperor that way.
Or I read the sources. I have top level authorities are telling me things about how the Emperor is really an alien.
Where'd you get that from? The Dark Angels?
Don't
We ain't putting up with this.
I'm not gonna tell you my sources, but Azrael did tell me that.
Azrael from Undertale?
No.
Warhammer.
Oh, I got shamed hard there. Damn.
No, I was
haven't
trying
even
to
played
try to soften.
Undertale.
I don't
I
know
hard
too much
shamed.
about the Undertale.
I know that a lot of people make fan art of that skeleton, but sexy. They give
Which
him
one, the fat, short one, or
both
the
of
tall,
them.
skinny one?
Both of them. Sometimes both of them together. They're
They're
brothers, by
brothers.
the way. That's fucked up. I agree. But they give them
They're
like
also
weird.
dead.
They give them weird jelly dicks, like made out of like energy or some shit. Like
Eek.
all I know is Papyrus has like a thick blue jelly
Okay,
dick.
now we need no.
The
Stop.
globalists want you to have thick blue jelly dicks.
Ah!
I'm Jones Alex. Can't sue me.
You can't sue me.
You need to be like Lexus Gyms or something.
Lexus
Oh man,
Turning the reptiles bisexual.
The reptiles are turning me gay.
The Necrons are in league with the I don't know.
The Necrons they didn't really fight the old ones. They fought the globalists.
Magnus did nothing wrong.
Right.
Magnus did everything wrong. All right, we could stop the Alex Jones bit. I feel icky doing the
That's
voice.
enough of that. That's enough of that.
I said the word globalist too many times.
Yeah, sure.
I gotta play Undertale though. I downloaded it on Steam when it was like on sale for like $10.
I mean,
I
I've
never
heard
did play
it's
it.
great. The fans are fucking weird, but that's 90% of the shit you're gonna consume.
You could just
The
take
fans
the
are
name
insane.
Undertale out of that and just apply it to anything and say the fans ruin X, and it's just that's the same.
There's just a lot of weird ass fans that are really into like skeleton dicks, but I've heard the
As you do.
actual game is really fantastic, really good soundtrack. Hannah played it. She was obsessed with it for a bit. Her like ringtone was literally Undertale song.
Yeah, I recognize that.
Yeah, so she was really into it. I've heard really good things. I'd be interested in watching you play it because I'm not like big into playing that kind of game. There's a lot of like weird moving that hard around. I think
Move
I'm
that
not
hard.
entirely sure,
Yeah.
but
I definitely go for the pacifist run. I heard
yeah,
that's like
that's
the
what
best
I
way
was
to go.
gonna say. Pacifist route is like hard mode, but
Doesn't it?
it's like the most rewarding. It's got a good payoff to it. Like you feel good.
That's debatable.
Hey,
Ooh.
have
Because
you
if
played
you, well, I know everything about it.
it? Oh,
Oh.
I have not
local
played it. Answer no.
Undertale expert Ryan Ritter.
Have I watched
or-
3 people play it on YouTube all the way through for both
Was
runs? Yes.
Was one of them super best friends? Did you watch that Liam? Was it Liam Matt?
No, it was Liam Woolley.
Liam Woolley. That's a good combo.
Liam
Yeah.
Neeson's Nissan
I would-
on a Nissan
Man.
and the knees, son.
What?
What?
What? What?
What?
What?
What just happened?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Keep going.
Okay.
All right, there's that.
Keep
So,
going. What's up?
yeah, I watched them. I watched Ross and Barry play it. They did both runs of Genocide and Peaceful. So you can do Genocide, but you actually have to work for it. The easiest thing to get in the game is like a neutral ending that's not really good. And that's if you kill even one thing and then make it to the boss.
Makes
Doesn't,
sense. Though. It's typically the easiest route is kind of like the kind of meh neutral.
Right, and that's not a genocide, and that's not a pacifist. Normally, there's one thing that people kill pretty obviously, because it's not crazy obvious how to avoid killing it. But you gotta pay attention to like what the dialogue says, because everyone has dialogue. It's a completely dialogue-driven game. So, yeah, there's your hint for whenever you play it.
Ooh, okay.
There is a way to get through without killing a single thing. You have to try everything and try the same things over and over and over again. Genocide you have to work for. You have to go to an area and you have to fight. You have to grind in that area and eventually nothing will show up.
Oh.
There will be a thing that'll say like, but nobody came or something like that. To quote Earthbound, like whenever one of those dudes calls for help and then nobody shows up. So, yeah.
Another game I
Same
haven't
thing
played.
happens in Pokemon sometimes.
Earthbound's a good game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot Pokemon has that horde battle thing.
Pokemon. No, there's Pokemon Sumo, Sun Moon, as it is affectionately called, has this thing where Pokemons learn the ability to like cry for help for like other Pokemons to help out during battle. It's always like, usually it's a Pokemon of the same type, but sometimes it's different, which is like usually how you get like hard to find Pokemon or something. But like sometimes they'll be like, help me, and it's just like, nobody showed up though, and it's still just like him, and you're like, oh, buddy, sorry you have no friends. I will have to put you in this ball now.
Right. Go in your home!
You live in this ball.
Speaking of Pokemon, Pokemon Sword and Shield is coming out soon.
Yeah.
I
Hell
say
yeah.
soon, but they haven't actually made a release date. I'm all about that Sobble, that super sad chameleon boy. I would die for him already. I am going to put him on the sweetest little pedestal, and he will be mine forever.
You're making yourself into that meme. I've only had Sobble for a day or two now, but if anything happened, I would kill everybody else in this room and then myself.
Absolutely. I am that meme. The moment I laid eyes upon him, like I was like, "Oh my god!" I've always been a water Pokemon starter. It started with sweet little Piplup, Pokemon Silver, I believe.
Nope.
No,
absolutely not.
just
Diamond and
kidding.
Pearl.
Just
Diamond
fucking
or
kidding.
something like
that? Yeah, it's
Pokemon
Diamond and
Pearl
Pearl.
is definitely what I had. Yes, absolutely.
Silver was
Please
like the
don't kill
crocodile
me.
leaf for all
Crocodile. Yeah.
Yeah,
Crocodile,
no, you're absolutely right. It's definitely Pokemon Pearl. I had Pokemon Pearl for my DS, and I got Piplup. It was like my first Pokemon that I truly fell in love with was Piplup, and then Poplio. That bastard Poplio, that sweet boy.
That
sweet,
rat Poplio.
Called
that sweet
out.
boy. I also call my cats bastards. It's fine. It's a term of endearment.
Sure.
But as
People love it.
soon as I saw Poplio, I was instantly in love with him. Like, I was like, this boy, this boy, this boy? And every other person went, ooh, disgusting, hate him. Poplio was the biggest meme on the internet. I don't know if you guys remember. Every single person and their mother made fun of Poplio for
Yeah.
being the most hideous thing. And then they came out with his other evolutions, and he turned into this, like, beautiful mermaid. And all of a sudden, everyone was on that Poplio train. And I was like, excuse me, I've been here since the beginning. When he was just a little blue seal boy, and now you're gonna be like, oh, you know what? He starts out ugly, but he's fine. I'm like, he's beautiful from the start, and I'm hurt that you would ever insinuate anything else.
I don't even know what his middle evolution looks like. I know
Oh,
his
it's
clown
sweet.
seal self, and I know the like full-on mermaid opera singer self.
Middle is a kind of like a fancy clown seal.
Ah.
Like a clown seal that like went on to Instagram and got one of those makeup tutorials and did it.
Because I can think of everything for the cat, and I can think of everything for the owl, but little Poplio is out.
I love Poplio a lot, and I'm very excited for Sobble. But the owl. Nobody really talks about how douchey the middle evolution of the owl looks.
That's the only middle
Well,
evolution.
yeah,
I can
that's his
remember.
He
that's
looks
the
like
whole
a
thing.
posh douchebag.
He's got a hair in his face, and he does the little hair flip like the emo guys do in South Park.
He looks like he just kicked
Or is he
me
goth?
out of the country club. Like, he looks awful.
Yeah, that's his deal.
And
Hipster
his
owl.
What does
final
this dude
evolution
look
looks
like?
Cool.
What are you talking about?
There.
Dude, you know how I feel. There's only 151 Pokemon.
Okay, that second one in the first row, or the second
This
row.
dude?
No,
No,
second
down.
row. First one in the second row.
Oh,
That's his middle
yeah,
evolution.
He's definitely gonna be like, hey, my dad owns this building.
My father will hear
My
about this
my
kind of
father will
bullshit.
hear.
The
Okay,
one right beside it is his final evolution, and
That's
the one
not bad.
the little rotund boy above him is his first evolution.
Mhm.
That sweet little round owl.
All right,
But,
so
oh
once you
my
get him to
God.
here, you hit him up with that rare candy, so he goes cool as soon as possible.
Yeah, he's
I
just
mean,
such
he's
a
got his
douche
little dapper
middle.
bow tie. He's like a little kid in a suit, you know.
I never trust a little kid in a suit.
No,
if
I
you see a
mean,
little
no.
kid in a suit,
They're not as qualified as they pretend to be.
Absolutely,
I'm a doctor.
it's completely a sham and a lie.
heal about this.
So I ran into this little kid in a suit, and he tried to sell me car insurance.
Yeah.
Now I only got a kidney.
Did
I
he
don't
try
know how that
to
happened.
sell you insurance?
Baloney.
Vinny Baloney.
Oh man.
Making
Oh
an
man.
appearance.
Man.
Welcome to TableStop, sponsored by Vinny Baloney.
Don't know. We could.
Would you like some
Are we
Vin
gonna get
insurance?
sued for that?
I don't think
know.
he can be
think
sued
Vinny's
for
out there?
claiming false sponsorship.
If
right?
anything, we're giving him free advertising.
Hey,
Right,
Vinny
exactly.
Baloney. You got that Vinsurance. Not sure what it is.
It's luxury,
It's-
probably.
Some say it's luxury. Oh,
That's
Ritter,
all right.
what games you been playing?
Final Fantasy 14.
Okay. Dan, what
I
games
told you
have
that.
you been playing? Look within yourself.
Look within myself.
Right. Remove the whatever from your face before you talk about the other guy's face.
What?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh
Talk about
yeah,
your stuff.
yeah. No, you can just take it off.
What?
It's fine. After it's done, you can
Wait.
take it off and you become a vampire.
Are we? Oh yeah.
I went JoJo. Which way did you go with
I
it?
didn't go anywhere.
Oh, I thought you were going JoJo.
I thought you were going like a facial cleansing mask, and I was like, dude, you been moisturizing?
That's what we should just say to each other. Just like, dude, you been moisturizing?
No, we're not doing that.
It's happening. It's lore. It's part of the lore.
No, there's
the
no
lore
lore.
starts now.
No, there is not.
You guys just witnessed the beginning of a lore.
I
We don't
can't
have
wait.
a wiki page,
That's our
so
first
there's no lore.
first entry on the wiki page.
No. Who's gonna make it? You?
Mm,
I ain't making it. That's the challenge.
Hey, Mom, if you listen to this, can you make me a wiki page?
Mom, bring it in. Bring it in. Make me a wiki.
Figure it out, please.
I'm fine.
What have I been playing? Oh, the Vidya variety.
Not Persona 5, I'll tell you that much for free.
One day, whenever it's out on the Switch.
You're never gonna do it. Prove me wrong. Change my mind, please.
I know you're doing the anime thing where you're just like, you're not gonna do it.
That's
And
not
then-
an anime thing. It's my thing.
You're just trying to inspire me to play Persona 5. I see through your rouge.
My rouge.
Your Rouge the Hedgehog. Is she a hedgehog?
She is not.
Is she an echidna?
She's a bat.
She is a bat.
She is a bat.
She has bat wings.
She does have bat wings.
I played a lot of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle,
Oh.
so that's the only that was my qualifier to explain why I know. So nobody can go
Source. I
Somebody-
played Sonic 2 Battle.
exactly.
Somebody didn't have their sources. Played a lot of Stellaris. So
I've heard that's coming out for console now.
I don't know how that's gonna work.
I don't know either, but I'm really excited because I don't have a PC strong enough to play it.
I would definitely suggest getting it, but I'm not. Okay, so what Stellaris is for the viewer out there? It is a
Viewer.
4X strategy game, kind of like Civilizations. It's real time, so in Civ you take a turn, you move a dude, but basically you got your single planet, and you're just stretching it out to an entire like galactic empire. You gotta deal with external threats, you gotta deal with internal politics. The game's always changing, so the company that produces it is called Paradox, and they do these really big, really in-depth strategy games, which they're chunky. You gotta look at a wiki. You gotta like,
Heckin' chonkers.
they're heckin' chunkers. Gotta do some research on how the mechanics in them work, which I don't mind like watching a 10-minute YouTube of like a 12-year-old going, "Yeah, you need to get more energy crystals."
Is he wearing a suit?
Oh man, I can't trust them.
Don't trust that kid in the suit.
Don't you tell me things.
But yeah, Paradox does this thing where they release a game and they continue to support it and give it these updates that completely change how the game plays. So if you were to play Stellaris 2 years ago when it first came out, it's a different game than what it is now.
So like League of Legends.
You bastard.
No,
You bastard.
no, because they change all the
Attention, this
champions
Wendy's.
around. They've reworked everyone. They've
It's like-
ruined Akali.
It's like
My
if they
dang
add other
favorite
maps
Akali.
to League. Did they add more?
No, they've never added
It's,
another map.
if they add another map to League,
Well,
is
there's-
basically the type of update that Stellaris does.
There's 4 maps. One of them I don't think exists anymore. There's your normal 5v5. There's a 3v3. There's the 1-lane random ARAM, whatever, all random, all mid. And there was this, like, Capture the Crystals thing that I don't even remember what it was, but it was also 5v5. And it was like a weird Pentagon-looking thing. I don't think it exists. Last time I logged in, it didn't exist.
It doesn't sound like it'd be a good map for that kind of game.
It was only played by a few people sometimes.
Ugh.
Anyway, Stellaris.
Yeah, Stellaris is really good if you like space strategy games. Be warned that it's one of those games that you start your empire and you're looking at a good 20-hour investment on that game.
Man, just like Spore.
kind of like Spore.
From what you've described, it reminds me of Spore.
I put
There
a lot
are
of work
some
into Spore.
Spore-ish tendencies in it, but it's Spore if Spore was Civ.
Sporific.
It reminds me of a game I used to play a few years ago. It's called Sins of a Solar Empire.
Exactly the same.
Is it exactly the same?
Not exactly the same, but the same exact genre.
Oh, that's cool. Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I'm definitely
We
more
own
into
that.
it now.
I mean, we have.
I
that
own
somewhere.
it too.
Sins of Solar Empire?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really?
I played it a ton.
Oh man, so
I-
nice.
that
I
was-
played
that
a
was-
little bit.
That was my first big 4X space love.
Yeah.
But yeah, it even has the hyper lanes
Oh,
like
that's cool.
Sins does.
Nice.
So you can have a world that you bulk up as your fortress world.
I love
Yeah.
it when they came up with the space station expansion for that game.
Yeah, it was so good.
It was so hard to actually defend a system when you went out and did something else. Like somebody could just backdoor you and just take.
You
take
had
over
to
your
have
own world
a
and everything.
second armada as big as your first attacking armada, just kind of hang out.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a good game. I never played any other races other than the Trade Federation, the humans.
I always played the aggressive aliens, the ones that were
The-
running from the space threat. I don't remember what they were called.
Yeah.
Too long ago.
Tyranids.
Did you ever, actually one of the big space threats in Stellaris is Tyranids.
Oh,
They're not
really?
actual Tyranids, but they're a external force that comes in and they'll take over planets, and their armadas are super
Oh, that's
powerful.
fantastic. For anybody that doesn't know, Tyranids are a race from Warhammer 40,000. That's like a bunch of space bugs
I'm gonna
that
have
go
to stop
around.
you right there.
What's up?
40,000.
Yeah, 40,000.
Yeah,
40K.
Yeah, well, we all
Nobody
say 40K.
ever says 40,000.
We all say
I'm gonna stop you right there. Call it out.
Well, somebody else
Done.
should Google it. I mean, I
You
guess
say
I could-
40K. You put go put
I've
40K
heard- okay.
into
I'm trying to be
Google
descriptive here,
right
man.
now.
The hand is up.
What
Game's
hand?
putting up
My
on-
hand of justice.
Justness?
The hand of justice.
Yo, I'm gonna let you finish, but nobody says 40,000.
So I'm a dude who listens to a lot of Warhammer podcasts.
I
They
who
say
doesn't?
both.
They say Warhammer
The
40,000.
Brits say Warhammer 40,000
You-
You
occasionally.
say
all
Brits?
right, you know
the
what?
Brits say 40,000?
The
Is that what he
Brits.
said?
Yeah, that's what they are. They're
The
from
British.
Britain.
Yeah, just
We're the Merkins.
they got that.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
All right. You know what? You got me.
Lawyered.
I have been bopped.
And
All
that
right.
was our first session of Podcast Court. Now, I'm just a simple podcast lawyer, but the British people do say 40,000.
This is my public defender, everybody.
Oh, good.
My name is
Good,
Chester Chesterfield.
Oh, I was going to say Chester Cheetah.
No, Chester
Cleaned
Chester.
up.
Chester Cheetah, but without the
You
cocaine.
passed the bar.
I passed the bar and got off my cocaine addiction.
All of my official documents have Cheeto dust all over them.
It's not cocaine. He's just doing the Cheeto mix. Cheeto
It's
dust.
fine, it's fine.
Orange of cocaine.
But other than Stellaris, Tetris 99 has been in heavy rotation.
That's a pretty big thing right now. Everybody's having fun playing Battle Royale Tetris.
It's the best of the battle royales.
Tetris was after my time as a youngin, as the baby of the group. I didn't really
please.
play.
1995.
I didn't really play Tetris as a kid. I played more like pinball on my dad's computer sometimes. That little pinball game.
A
that
space
Oh, I
pinball
played that
game?
space pinball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
space
Yeah,
pinball.
Everyone
But
knows.
Tetris was never really a thing I really played.
I
So
didn't really play
haven't-
Tetris until I got a DS. That was the first time I really played it.
I haven't really gone into Tetris 99 yet because I know it's just going to be a huge, huge bust to my ego every time I'm the 99th person.
And you know who's
Get it
beating
on your
you.
phone.
You know who's
Tetris?
beating you is like this pleasant 60-year-old grandma who's been deep in the Tetris game since.
Yeah.
I got my first T-spin too, by the way.
Nice. You're doing
Did a
that.
T-spin?
There's a
I did a
secret
T-spin.
T-spin move in
What's that?
Tetris.
All right, so if you have a space that a T can fit, but it can't go down naturally, you can spin it in a way that, if it's right before it locks, you can hit the spin button and it'll spin and lock in the position that you want it to be.
Oh, really?
So save there's a L piece here and a block here and a little nub where the T square would go into. You can hit that you can hit the spin and it'll spin and lock because that's the only logical place that the piece can fit because it's still technically going down.
How about that?
Yeah, and if it clears a line, it sends extra lines to other players as a little bonus thing for doing the cool T-spin move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the DS version I used to play had all kinds of different variable modes with it, and they were all themed after all the Nintendo characters. One of them was the Metroid themed one, where you had just one starting square, but you could rotate the entire thing around. It was a big block that you could just rotate around 90 degrees.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember any of the rest of them because that was the only one I played. But
I had a keychain about the size of a postage stamp. No, it was a little bigger. It was 1 inch by 2 inches, and it had a little left and right, and it had a button, and that was your left right for your Tetris piece and the button to spin the piece. And it was just a black LCD screen, no colors, and that is what I learned to play Tetris on.
Oh.
So this holding pieces, these T-spins, this holding up to slam it down
All
immediately,
this hidden tech.
this is
New
news
lore.
to me.
There's new Tetris lore. You got to get
I mean,
behind it.
I've played it on my phone too. I downloaded it one time, and I guess I don't think it has a way to auto slam down either. I think you just kind of swipe down with your finger and it would go. I think it's the official Tetris thing. Maybe I just don't know the tech in it. I don't know. Maybe it has a hold piece button and I just never pushed it.
speaking of keychain games, you remember Tamagotchi and the Digimon?
Yeah,
hell
that was
yeah.
around the same vein. I
That
had
was also,
Digivices.
before my time. I never had
was-
a Tamagotchi.
I didn't have Tamagotchi. It was the Digivices was what I had.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think I had
didn't have
Shake,
that
shake,
stuff.
shake, 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 shake,
Yeah.
shake, shake, shake,
You know
shake,
what I
shake.
had? Silly bands.
Silly
Man,
bands are
I was
dumb.
working at Kroger's when
Rude.
Silly Bands came out. I was an adult when Silly Bands came out.
You
was
were
in middle
not.
School. I was
Yeah, I
in middle
was. Do you
school at
not
the time.
remember? I think you were working there at the time too.
Silly bands?
Are you talking about? I might be getting this wrong, but the bracelets,
The snap bracelets?
No,
were a
not
shape.
snap bracelets. No.
They were
Yes.
gummy bands that
Shape.
were a shape. So
Yeah,
one
they
be
were
the shape
like-
of a deer.
Yes,
And
they
you just
were
put it on
rubber
you.
bands and shapes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do I still not know what this is?
No,
I don't know
Google
what
it.
it is
Google
either.
it. Silly bands
I
were
do
like
have
a
technology.
rubber band bracelets that came in shapes, and you could wear them, and they looked fucking stupid as
Bands
hell
with
while
the
on your
Z.
wrist because they were all
Oh.
wrinkly and shit.
Yeah.
But when you took them off, you could be like, "Oh, look, this one's an apple because I like
Oh my
apples."
God.
A lot
this
of
one's a kitty
20,000
cat.
silly bands for $1,000.
Wow.
So out there in pod space, if you want to be the proud owner of 20,000 Silly Bands, give eBay $1,000.
Yeah, that's a deal. What a steal. But yeah, and then Spencer's came out with dirty silly bands that
Of
were
course.
dicks and stuff. But in middle school, I know that I was kind of like a silly band scavenger. I didn't ever buy them because my mom was like, "I'm not gonna spend money on some fucking wrinkly ass rubber bands. It's stupid." But I'd find them on the ground and I'd be like, "This one's mine now." They'd be like, "Oh, are you really into bananas?" I'm just like, "Sure." I definitely didn't find this on the ground
yeah, I
in
like
gym
the bananas.
class.
It would have been when she was 13 is when they were first sold.
Yeah.
I remember every
grade.
time there's a color bracelet thing, parents always by parents I mean news always are like, your kids are wearing these bands, but what do they really mean?
Yeah.
The red one means I had sex. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, in my 8th grade, people actually wore jelly bracelets that meant shit like that. It was the black band meant you made out with someone, and the purple band meant you gave them head and stuff like that. And they'd snip them whenever they did them, or they'd either put them on or they snipped it. I wasn't cool enough to do this, but I wore a lot of bracelets. But it's because I tried to be cool and edgy, not because I was like, "Oh man, look how many times I've sucked dick." But
You have a lot of blue there.
they would actually wear these and be like, "Yeah, it's because I made out with Tom the other day," or yeah, and
See,
and it was absurd.
In the school I went to,
Me too.
the theorem was that if someone was wearing one of these jelly bracelets, if someone went up to them and broke it, Now, these things were tough. Like, you'd have to almost break somebody's wrist to bust one of these things or carry a pair of scissors. But if you broke the one they were wearing, they had to do something to you.
Oh,
Like, it was
that's an
owed to you.
interesting concept.
Right.
I
That's
vaguely
kind of
remember that.
horrifying.
But like, okay. So even in high school, I was like, people aren't really doing that shit. That's just dumb.
There were a
Right.
few kids
There's like
that
that
are
one
still-
or two, but
Yeah, there's
everybody
a few
else was
kids
just.
that hear about it and they're like, I'm gonna be so cool and do this. But for the most part, people are just like, whatever. If I'm gonna suck dick, I'm gonna suck dick.
I don't
like-
need no bracelet telling
yeah.
me to suck.
Exactly. Like I said, I was one of those freaks. Not that did it, but that wore a bunch of bracelets. Like, I had at least 20 jelly bands on each arm. I had little wristlets. I had like gummy bracelets filled with glitter. And I'm serious when I say that they went clear from my wrist all the way almost up to my elbow, to where like it was hard to like bend my arms because I had so many bracelets on.
Bet that
I
gives
was-
you a weird tan.
Oh, probably. But I never went outside. I was a weird scene kid. I was obsessed
A
with these
scene
things.
kid?
Yeah, one of those edgy scene kids. Being seen was like the hottest style when
Are
I
you
was
saying-
in middle
kind of
school.
remember that a little
Scene
bit.
as in SCENE?
Yes,
Like,
it
look at
was
the
like
scene.
it was like gothic, but with like flashes of neon color. Like you'd wear mostly black, but like there was like neon colors in it, and like you had your hair all weird, and like everything was absurd about it. I couldn't do anything with my hair because I asked my mom for blonde highlights, and she was like, "Absolutely not, fuck you." So I was like, "All right, cool." But I
Simple
did
enough.
wear like black T-shirts with neon rainbow hearts on them, and 30 bracelets on each arm. Like, I was as weird as I could be about it. Now I look back and I'm like, oh, embarrassing. But at the time, man, that was like all the rage.
Fascinating.
It
Such
was
things
cool
we've
kid.
learned today.
Cool kid things.
So we all talked about games we played. What was the last board game that we all played together? Like actual physical board game?
Feels like ages ago.
probably Feast for Odin, right?
I believe that was
Yeah.
what
was
I
it
was going to
Feast for
say.
Odin or was it the awesomely '90s Incognito?
Incognito.
Oh, the spy
Oh,
game.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what?
Man.
It was Incognito. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about it, which is weird because I really enjoy playing it. I like it a lot. I think it's really fun.
Feast of Odin or Incognito?
Incognito. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I like
yeah.
Feast for Odin too. Of course, it's a little bit heavier, but I
It is a
really
chunk
enjoyed
game.
Incognito. I liked the element of trying to figure out what everyone is, kind of like Clue style kind of stuff.
You want to
And
give
it's-
a rundown for people that don't know what it is?
Me?
Yeah, sure.
Personally,
I mean, you basically are the Wikipedia for rules for us.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
boy.
This is a quick like a timeout lore thing for Rainey here.
Add it to
Whenever
the
we
wiki.
sit down to play board games, if it's a board game that we haven't like brought out in a long time, this girl has the exact verbiage of the rule book archived in her brain somewhere. So we pulled out and we're all like, "How do we set this up?" And she's grabbing all the components and the pieces and throwing them out on the table. Like, "Give me this. We do this." And like, we get to the first turn and we don't know who starts when or who puts their pieces where and whatnot. And she's like, "Oh, I can't believe you guys don't remember this. Here it goes here and here and here." Like, she is masterful at remembering these
don't
things.
know
Like,
how
I don't know
it's-
how she does it.
That's
And
what all
yet-
my brain power goes towards. I don't remember what I did earlier today, but
And yet, when you're explaining rules, she's just over here looking at a window, and then we play and she wins.
I
That does-
100% do
She
not
always
pay
wins the
attention to
first
rules.
game that we play of a board game, a new board game. That's Rainy rule number one with board
I have
games.
the idiot advantage.
She always remembers the rules, no matter how long it is, like in between sessions when we play it. As Rainy rule number 2, and Rainy rule number 3 was Ritter just said it. I don't remember what it was, but
Is that she doesn't pay attention when
She
you're
doesn't pay
explaining.
attention
I
when
don't
we
pay
explain the
attention.
rules.
Somehow,
I
she's-
completely disassociate as soon as one of you opens a rule book.
Like we're
Like, I
explaining
just
it,
leave
she's
my
just
body.
like looking at her phone or like
Right,
playing the
but-
dress-up game, staring off space.
she's there with Hannah, and they're just like doing some Vine thing or something that's happened.
Yeah.
Do
and
it for
then
the
perfect
Vine.
comprehension
RIP.
as soon as we start. Like that's it.
It's like, okay, so this is the optimal strategy. All right, fine.
Yeah.
You could write a meta book on what she does.
It's just like I said, I have the idiot advantage. I'm like, I don't know, this seems fun. Fuck it. No thought to it, and then it's just like, yeah. Works
Didn't you
out.
win the
Idiot
first game
Savant
of Twilight
advantage.
Imperium that we all played too?
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
I
Don't
think you
remember
did.
anything.
I'm gonna assume she did.
I know
I feel
I
like
won.
we all
I
have won a game
blew
with
you
Twilight
guys out
Imperium.
I think
of
we
the
have,
water with the first Feast for Odin game we played.
That's
Just
correct.
because I was like, I don't know, this seems
Man,
fun.
when you busted out Feast for Odin, like
Oh,
It looked
man.
intense.
it was so
That is
almost
a
unapproachable, but like
brawling game of so much information.
There's
It
like
is
70
overloading.
different, like it's like one of those meeple placement games, but it's got like 70 different actions on it, and it looks incredibly overwhelming when you first look at the board. There's so many things, little text, like it's like There's so many different elements to it, but honestly, once you kind of start going, it all clicks into place, and it's so much easier than you would think it would be. It's just getting started, getting that engine rolling for like the first 10 minutes is like a feat. It's a task. You're
There
looking at
are-
it and you're like, oh my God, but
there
it's
are-
actually really good.
3 rule books in that entire box too. Like really only one rule book and like an appendix of all the terms
But
that he
it's
uses.
thick.
But still, the fact there's an appendix with the rule book.
Yeah.
I
Tells
did
you
like
all
a
you
good
need to know.
appendix with a rule book. Last edition of Warhammer had the best appendix. That's because every rule was a universal rule that your unit could or could not have. That's neither here or there. But
I have an
Feast of
appendix.
Odin's fantastic.
It is. It like once you get over that learning cliff of that game, it is really good. But it's also kind of unapproachable with the price of it too. Is like $90 for the
Damn.
box.
Yeah, Kyle got it by like trading in some old Magic the Gathering cards and getting like $100 of store credit, and he
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, "Give me that."
Yeah, I used to be a avid Magic player, by the way, like since I don't know, like 6 years ago, and then I got out of it and
Yeah.
kind of like traded in my collection for board games.
Yeah, but Incognito, it's a game where you're all just kind of like 4 different spies, and you secretly have a little meeple that you are out of like 4 meeple, and then you're a secret spy and you have a secret objective, and you get a letter, and the whole goal is that you have to find out what other spy is on your team, what letter they are, and what meeple they are, if it pertains to like your specific task that you have, because there's a lot of different tasks. It has really great replayability. It's a lot of fun. You kind of like, when it's your turn, you go up to another meeple on the board, and you have to like, you can ask them what their build is, or what their like what kind of spy they are, and they give you some cards. Only one or more of them is true. They give you 3 cards in total, and you're kind of trying to use process of elimination to find out what's real and what's not real. It's got fantastic replayability, like I said, because there's so many different objectives it could be. I don't think we've had the same objective once yet.
Right.
And,
it's
it's a
possible
lot of fun.
16 combinations.
Yeah.
And we have not run into the possibility yet, but it is possible that both teams could figure out what their goal is and then be competing to try and accomplish the goal before the other people do.
Oh yeah, that hasn't happened yet. But whenever you think you've accomplished your goal and you've found out your partner and everything, you have to give them a handshake and be like, mission accomplished. And if you're wrong, the other team wins. And if you're right, obviously you would win.
That is the coolest part of that game.
Yeah.
it's
Mission
really cool.
accomplished.
It's the
Yeah.
biggest 50-50 that you can do.
'Cause
I lost our last
last
game that
time
we played.
You guys
Yeah,
lost,
we did.
yeah.
I
You were,
misread
like,
the card.
You guys
So did
were
I.
so like confident. You were like, mission accomplished, and you shook hands, and you were completely
Like,
wrong.
wait, I thought Rainey was the short person. Like, no, I was the tall person. Like, wait, I thought you were supposed to be over here. Like, no, that wasn't. Like, no.
Yeah, it all
man,
went very
it's-
poorly.
Yeah.
And the box art, like, I would love a reprint,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I love the 90s look of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was a game that, like, just screams 1998. It's got pinks, it's got purples.
It just looks like some
Got that,
1990s Mattel game.
Vaporwave-esque kind of front vibe.
Yeah.
It's a really good game. I really have enjoyed it so far. You get a little note card with it that you can like use to like kind of check off who you think who is and everything. I love those secret kind of spy games. I really would love to play Clue with you guys.
Yeah.
It's a classic that I actually have not played. I've played games very similar to Clue, like the little
Cryptid.
cryptid game that we play, very similar to Clue. It's all about trying to find the cryptid on the map, and everyone has their own secret like specifications to where it can and can't be, and that's a lot of fun. It's more like very it's an easier Clue, I would say.
I would disagree. I think it's way harder.
Really.
I think it's flawed in a lot of ways. If nothing else, by the amount of pieces that you get.
Yeah, there are very few pieces. Unfortunately, there's a lot of times where we run out of like little cubes that show that can't be a place, and we're just kind of like recycling pieces off of the other places, which is unfortunate.
To imagine like what the game board looks like, it's like it kind of looks like a picture of a park that has a bunch of hexes overlaid over it, and everybody's got these like colored cylinders and cubes and stuff, and you have to like point at a place on the board and ask somebody if the monster could be there based on their condition, and people can run out of cubes if they put like the no symbol is a cube. So if you point at a hex on the board and you say no, that the monster can't be there, you have to put your little cube down to show that for everybody else for the rest of the game, and it can kind of get like information locked after a while.
Yeah, I do still think it's easier than Clue, though, because you're only finding one place on a board with Cryptid,
Yeah.
while Clue, you have to find a person, a place, and a thing. and it requires a lot more kind of like sleuthing and everything. I think Cryptid does have definitely the design flaw of not enough pieces. That's a super unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
But that's really the only flaw it
there-
has.
Yeah.
I like the
My
aesthetic
favorite
of the
thing
game.
about Cryptid is the replayability of it because
Yes.
it comes with like a stack of cards with it, and I think it's something like 60 cards for easy mode and 60 cards for hard mode, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but it has a unique setup every time you play the game. Like the map kit is divided into 6 chunks, and it makes the map like arrange into like different orientations depending on what kind of card you have, and everybody has like a different like I don't know what's the word I'm looking for.
A rule?
A different
Yeah, different
Yeah.
rule that determines where it either can or can't be. Like, it has to be within one spot of a desert biome, or
Yeah.
it definitely is not in a forest biome and stuff like that. Because there's different biomes on the map, too.
Yeah, and there's the cards that come with it, and I mean you can play it enough to where you get all the way through those cards too. But there's also an app with the game that just randomly generates a certain setup for your game too. So there's like almost infinite replayability with it.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
replayability is absurdly fantastic.
Yeah.
My only complaint with it is honestly there's not enough cubes.
Mm.
Which I
Is
guess
there,
is
like,
pretty
a rule in the
fixable.
book that we were missing about like running out of cubes, you're out or something?
I don't know.
look
We
too
didn't
far
find
into it.
anything about it. We kind of quickly looked, but we didn't find anything about it. But I mean, you can always buy little cubes super cheap. It's a
Yeah.
shame that you have to for that game, but the aesthetic of the game otherwise is really nice. I like the board, the way it's laid out and the way it looks and everything. Very easy on the eyes. I like the colors and everything.
Yeah.
I always thought that the running out of cubes and running out of components was kind of like them limiting the amount of information you could put on the board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess
Like
that's
you
fair.
can only know so many like no's from a person before you just don't get that information anymore, and that
That's-
kind of like makes it a little more challenging.
That's not a
Yeah,
bad
I
way to
suppose
look
that
at
is
it.
probably would be a good way to
But
kind
what
of
if
play
it makes it impossible?
I don't think
Then
it's
you
that
done
impossible,
goofed.
really.
Eventually, you'll find out. I mean, you guess every square. Eventually, you're gonna get it. But it would be kind of a shame where it would just kind of get to that point of like, is it this? Nah. Is it
I
this?
felt
Nah.
like
Is
a
it
lot
this?
of the
Nah.
games have ended with just random guesses, though.
There's been a few games though that have been like good, like figured it out.
Sure.
I'd say the
based
majority
on-
of the
based
games
on
we
clue.
played have been
A
somebody's
lot of
figured it
them.
out.
Yeah, it's just
Like a
a
60-40
lot of
though,
them
still.
have-
Like, there's
we've run
still
out
a
of
good
Probability,
amount.
like I mean, you don't know exactly where it would be at, but based on like all the information that you gather, like you know two persons' rules and your own, but you don't know the third person's or the fourth person's rule.
Mm-hmm.
So you could like, okay, based on all this, I think it might be here, and it's like a kind of just like a toss in the air, but it's an educated guess, which it might be better than somebody else only having like one other person figured out besides themselves.
Yeah.
So that's a decent game. I
So
like it a lot.
since we're starting to get into these like find the hidden traitor kind of games,
Yes.
I was just doing a little googling. Apparently, Secret Hitler is free under the Creative Commons license. It's a print to
Oh.
play.
I've never played that before actually.
Don't
I
know
don't
what
know
that
how.
is.
played it
I
either.
have played it.
I gotta
It's
be real.
interesting.
I tend to just avoid anything with Hitler in the name because
That's fair.
typically it's
That's
like
fair.
typically
That's
it's like
absolutely
an
fair.
intentionally edgy thing, and
That's a
I'm
good
not.
game.
I'm not into that.
From what I understand from Secret Hitler, it's kind of historically accurate. You have your cards. You're trying to figure out who in your group is the fascist.
There's no
okay.
history.
There
No
isn't
history
history.
whatsoever.
Okay, never
Here's
mind.
the
Very
way it
cool.
works.
Huh.
So you get your cards dealt to you. Say it's the 4 of us here. That would mean that there is, I think it's just the one Hitler, and then you have. I don't know how it went with 4. We played with like 8 people, and when you do it with that, you have 6 people that are good, that are going to pass laws, and they're going to pass them blue. And the way you win the game, there's like a little divider in the middle of the table. You either have to get all the way to red or all the way to blue. And I think it was like 3 to red and 3 to blue. So you have 6 people who are good, and you have 2 people that are for Hitler. There is actual Hitler, and there is fake Hitler.
So
It's-
there's like the Tanner.
It's like the minion in Werewolf.
Oh.
The minion wants to get killed, so the werewolf wins. So every round, somebody starts, and there's an election. And you want to try to elect somebody to be the one who passes laws. And there's a pair of people. You get like a president and vice president. So everyone goes around, the elections happen, all the voting happens, everyone argues for their point. Then the vice president picks up 3 cards off the top of the deck. These can be either red or blue. Gives them to the guy who got elected. He picks one of the cards and flips it over onto the table, and it will be either red or blue. So if it's Hitler and the fascist working together, they could be like, okay, yeah, I gave him all the cards. He didn't have a choice. He had to put a red down. If you get 3 reds, you got to put a red.
Yeah.
Same if you get 3 blues, you have to put a blue. So normally the way the game would work is the people who were actually Hitler and his minion would go and put a couple blues to start.
Yeah.
But if you put down a red, it repeals a blue.
Okay.
So it
you're trying to get that.
it sliders back and forth, I believe. I think it was how it worked. And eventually you can get to like straight out lying where somebody gives you 2 blues and a red and they're not your minion and you put down a red and you have to be like, well, you caught me, I'm Hitler, even though you're the minion. So if you die, the game is not over. You have to reveal who you were whenever you die.
Okay.
There's a voting after all this that's, okay, who do we kill? So there's a player dying every round.
Oh, okay.
That sounds really fun. That looks
Yeah,
fun.
that's not bad at all.
And if you can like print it out, like just a free print and play.
Yeah,
I've got like
I might-
boxes of Magic cards and like penny sleeves and stuff. We could just like print it out, cut it out, and play it.
Well, there's another print and play I want to play as well called Loopy Lore. That's on the screen right now for you dudes. Basically, Loopy Lore is a game where you have cards, right? And you're all trying to make like a story out of the cards you have, and you're telling them the story, and somebody. It's not really a game as in somebody wins, somebody loses. It's like a collaborative, creative thing. But it's along the same lines, like...
It's a Mad Lib.
Yeah, kind of.
Dude, there's a game I've been wanting to pick up that is like that. Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Okay.
I've heard about that before. It's
Yeah.
It's essentially like choose your own adventure, like a collaborative choose your own adventure thing, and it's got like a huge like notebook rule book thing of just like all the different scenarios you can get into, and there are like 10 options you can choose with every scenario you run into with your character. So if like you run into like a cave and there's a girl like inside of like a cage inside this cave,
Leave her there.
and you
Oh.
like
Don't
one of
let
the
her out.
options is
Rare.
like kill them, leave them there, steal them and rob them, help them out, and I don't know exactly what they all are, but there's like 10 options for every single scenario.
It's a trap.
And like when you get it, it's like, okay, look at paragraph 427 of like section A.
Okay.
And you go over there, and it still tells you what happens because of that. And so if you like choose to like rescue the girl out of the cage, something might happen there. But if you choose to rob her, something might happen down the road.
So it's a choose your own adventure board game.
Yes, and there's like
that's such a good idea.
there's points and stuff to it, but no one ever pays attention to the points. They just go through and just try to create the most ridiculous story they can.
Hello,
Still
welcome
only
to
the
Raven,
cage, but
Raven
not
Knights
the
where the
girl.
points don't matter.
Yeah.
Can I kill the cage?
I'm going to take this cage because I feel like I'll need it later, but I don't want the girl.
You know that they had to write those scenarios in too, because they have like the same 10. From what I understand, they have the same 10 actions with every scenario you get into.
Really?
So like if you run into a lion in the desert, like one of the ones that I heard on another podcast was like they ran into a lion and it's like you try to rob the lion,
Right.
and like the lion kills you or something like that, or mauls you or something.
Well, yeah.
It sounds like a fun game though.
Yeah, it does.
I would try, probably.
I would definitely play that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking about maybe just hitting up like a print shop and just have them.
Dude,
Right.
I'd pay for it. If we
Yeah,
could go to
yeah.
a shop right now and buy it, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
I'd buy it right now too, but I think it'd probably be cheaper just going to a print shop, having them like print it, make it professional. I thought about doing that with like buying another copy of some codexes and having them professionally cut out pages and making like nice laminated printouts for.
I don't know if they'll do that for copyright stuff.
Oh yeah, never thought about that.
I'm pretty sure they're like, nah, this is copyright. I can't copy this.
Codexes are the like rule books for each of the armies in 40K, by the way.
Thanks for that alley oop. I forget that there's peons out there that don't understand the Emperor's love.
Yeah.
There are laws.
Oh,
Bring
I
them the
guess
Emperor's
I'd
Light.
probably be a good filter for that because I don't know shit about
Yeah.
Warhammer 40K. So if you guys say something and I'm like, "Wah,"
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
That's true.
try and pay attention and speak up and be like, "I don't know what that is. Please,
Yeah.
please help."
Wah.
Why?
But yeah, that also reminds me the Tales of the Arabian Nights and Loopy Lore. I just kickstarted or I just backed a thing on Kickstarter. It was I think it's made by the same guys that made Tales of the Arabian Nights, but it was called Icarus or something like that.
Yes, it
Icarus:
was.
How Kingdoms Fall. And it's basically a collaborative storytelling thing of a group of people getting together with like all these cards and stuff and making the story of how a civilization starts and goes
Oh.
about and ends. And like the very end of the game is a civilization ending, and you tell the whole story of like how it happens.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it sounded really cool, and it was like $30 to back it. So
Oh, so when's the ship date on it?
it's this year, like in August, I think.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So I went ahead and did it, and I can't wait to see what that's like.
A little bit of Kyle lore. Kyle is a Kickstarter fanatic. He's like always on Kickstarter. He uses my computer sometimes, and I'll open it, and there's about 7 different Kickstarter tabs open like every single
Yeah.
time.
This has
He
been
is
more.
insane about Kickstarter and like getting on there and just fueling them.
It's been more of a recent thing. Like I didn't back my first thing until like a couple years ago, and that was like the only one I'd done until recently. But like the first thing I ever backed was Rising Sun, like this great big sprawling area control board game of samurai and stuff like that.
That's a good game.
It's a good game.
It
It's a
comes
good
with a ton
minis.
of minis, lots of good minis.
Very similar to Blood Rage. If anyone knows that, same people, right?
Yeah, same people that made that. It was Eric Lang and Simon made both of those.
A lot of minis, kind of fighting one another, kind of thing. Strategy. You get different power-up cards. Power-up is kind of cards. It's really interesting. I love all the attention to all the minis. There's some monsters that you can like get in Blood Rage, and then there's some gods in like Rising Sun, and the minis always look really, really good.
And Blood Rage is kind of like the one that came before Rising Sun. It was the Viking equivalent of it. But they always describe it, Blood Rage kind of being like a more in-depth Risk, and Rising Sun being more like a diplomacy style game.
Yes, because you
But
can
they're
like
both
make you can make like alliances in Rising Sun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which was always really fun as well. It's always fun because you can break the alliance too if you want. That's one of the actions.
A little odd if you have an odd number of people. Like it kind
It
of
is,
Yeah,
we
about
played
the
it
dude
on-
with no alliance.
We played an
Yeah.
odd number
Hi.
with Ritter, and he ended up not having an alliance for a
Yeah,
while.
Every
it's
single
pretty painful.
round.
Kind of, hey, I tried to team up with you like one or
No,
two
by
of the
that time
rounds,
it was
and
a
you were
matter of
like,
principle.
nah.
I was like, oh,
exactly.
no, I ain't teaming with you now. You need my help any of these other rounds. Nah.
Were you stinky?
I mean, I don't know. I certainly hope not. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, for more
All right.
context, I mean, we're relatively a new group of friends. Like, we only started
It's been
hanging
about a
out
year.
probably, 2 years, year and a half?
2 years, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more than a year now at this point, yeah. I
Yeah.
guess time flies.
We met hanging out in a shop that is maybe it's Schrodinger's shop. It's either open or closed. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's in shop purgatory at the moment. We'll see which way it goes, I
Is
guess.
it not Schrodinger instead of Schrodinger?
I thought it was Schrodinger. I could be
Danger.
Schrodinger's cat,
Right.
Logino's cat, Logino.
That's not a word.
That's the guy.
No, you're thinking of Longinus.
I was thinking of Longinus.
Ooh,
Damn it.
longitude?
No.
Latitude,
Nope.
Glatitude,
Anyway.
Gladiator?
Gladiator with what's his Gerard Butler?
Stop.
Not with Gerard Butler. It's
We have
The
to stop
rails
this.
are 2 miles away.
this cast derailed.
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
All right, so we like board games. We like video games.
Do.
We do.
We do.
Yeah.
So speaking, this is me trying to do a segue. I'm kind of
Oh.
like the owner of Segway, and I'm driving this Segway straight into the Grand Canyon.
Ah.
Have you ever seen Segway tours? They have those in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
They have this like everywhere. Like that's like the
There's
touristy thing.
goes like 20 Segways just go by you, and there's the one fool at the front has a little headset on, and everyone else has got their headphones in, like, oh yeah, look at that water.
How do we do a Segway tour? Because I honestly feel like that'd be really cool.
I do
No,
a Segway
I
tour.
don't want a Segway tour.
What?
Wear the dumb helmet.
I don't trust those things.
Now let's Segway tour
it was a
into
bicycle
Dan's
tour,
heart.
fine.
Dan,
What's up?
what were you gonna say? What's a Segway?
You're talking about what we're watching, what we're
Oh
eating.
yeah. So we were talking about a
Forgot the
game that
segue.
had a lot of fancy minis, and you and I had a hobby night a few weeks ago, where I introduced you to the greatest
night.
hobby tool of all time,
Airbrush.
the airbrush.
Oh.
Have you pulled that trigger?
No, not yet. No.
Okay.
No.
Not yet. But one thing that has kind of persuaded him to get even closer to it is that I like baking, and it can also be used for like edible airbrush stuff.
You
It's-
just
Laugh all you want. That's an
No,
incredibly
here,
popular
no,
thing.
Here, no. He'd
Yes.
make little edible chocolate Tyranids.
chocolate
So
Gans.
everyone that's killed, you just pick it up and, and see
That's
what your
such a
opponent
strong
does.
idea.
And just wait.
Oh my god, I never
Just
thought about
wait.
that.
What if you didn't tell the people in the shop they were
You
edible?
just
What if
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
man.
It's like, man, I'm
Never
hungry.
thought about that.
I got so many spare termagants on.
Oh, jeez.
No, but so you can put edible spray paint stuff in that
Yeah.
too, and kind of spray cakes and other stuff like that, and cupcakes. And the also possibility of that is definitely kind of pushing him towards getting one because it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
you
not
both
as
get your
expensive
own-
as I thought it would be either.
No. You both get your own brush, and you're good to go. Just get one tank. You could always get a bigger air tank because the one I use now, it's a small little guy that came with the brush itself.
Mhm.
It's
The
only
compressor?
like the compressor. That's what I meant. I know I
Right.
was saying something weird, wasn't I?
Well, a tank. I meant like a
Compressor
tank's going to
tank.
run out. You get a little tank or little compressor that runs. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get a bigger compressor that won't kick on as often.
I don't think I'd mind the noise, honestly.
It's not that bad. It's
I'd
kind of
probably
a
just-
nice level of noise.
Stick a pair of headphones in and just listen to something while I'm
And you
doing
got that
it.
nice
Yeah,
basement. Don't have to worry about ventilation.
That's true, yeah.
Gotta worry about spiders.
But,
You have to worry about
lots of
spiders. Spray paint the spiders.
Okay, so we went to board games, video games. Ritter, what are you watching? Or reading? Or both?
Well, as far as watching, I'm almost through all the episodes of Rising of the Shield Hero. That's pretty interesting.
Huh.
It's an isekai, so it's one of the ones where the dude's there in the real world and all of a sudden he gets transported to fantasy world, just like
Sword Art?
Yeah, I
exactly.
was about to say.
Dot
Is it
hack.
as creepy as Sword Art, though?
It is not as
Oh,
creepy
good.
as Sword Art.
Sword Art was real bad.
It
real
only
creep.
in the second season. It's real hard to defend.
No, because even in season 1, there was a bunch of weird panty shots, a bunch of weird butt shots. That one little Lolita girl's attacked by a tentacle plant. It's pretty fucked up. There's I actually forgot how creepy it was, in all honesty. Like, I watched season 1, and I was like, you know what? I love the concept. Some time went by, and I was like, I'll show Kyle. I feel like he'll dig this concept, a dude in video game. By, like, the second episode, Kyle was like, I have such strong creep vibes. I can't do this.
I thought she had tricked me
You
into
know,
watching a hentai.
I,
I was like,
like,
is this
had
where our relationship is going
forgotten-
right now?
I had forgotten how bad it was. Like, I was
I-
like, oh, yeah,
It's
oh.
possible I've forgotten as well.
Yeah, you
because
really
I think I
do.
watched that in college.
There
No,
were
you
literally
really
tentacles
do.
holding the girl
you
up.
do forget. There's a whole episode that focuses on, like, a little Lolita girl. She's, like, 11.
I
There's a bunch of
remember
men
her name's like
obsessed with her.
Silica or something.
Yeah, and
or
all the men
Lilica,
are
I don't know.
obsessed with her, and she goes on like a journey with the main dude, and she tries to bang him, and also she's attacked by a tentacle plant and like held upside down, and her panties are. And I was like, ooh, this
I remember
is
Blacksmith
bad.
Chick. Blacksmith Chick was cool.
Blacksmith Chick was cool as fuck, and I'm still bitter that they didn't do one thing right with this show and make them end up together, because they were actually a really cool couple. But yeah, you really do forget the creep of it, because I watched it when I was also freshman year of college, and because like my ex at the time had made me watch it. He was like really into it. Should have been a red flag. Was not.
Probably.
I watched it and I was like, ooh, some creep stuff. I totally forgot. And when I rewatched it, it was like a smack in the face with creepiness, like a dick smack in the face. It was bad.
Ugh.
It was real. Not
Most of the
good.
show isn't that creepy though, but there are some moments
Yeah,
that happen.
it's not. I mean, overall, there are a lot of good. It does follow that kind of like anime trope of like basic, bland male protagonist that for some reason every girl desperately wants to fuck. Well, there are a lot of
Yeah.
animes that kind of have that formula. Like the dude is the most bland, not funny, just basic, sometimes very edgy protagonist, and every girl is just wet for him as soon as they lay eyes upon him. And I'm like, can you guys just calm down for like a second?
There's
like,
a lot
can
of
you
things
just chill?
that make the character intentionally bland and not actually fleshed out. Like Twilight does the same thing. Like if you ask anybody that's read Twilight, like to describe the personality of what the main girl's name is, I don't remember the name of it. If you ask anybody to like describe the main girl in Twilight, like no one can actually give you like a clear description of what she's like, because you're supposed to like fill her shoes and be that
Oh,
person.
yeah.
So-
Twilight came out when I was in 8th grade.
Oh, God.
I,
saying these
in, like,
things.
It
You
came
keep
out when
saying-
I was in like high school.
I
I-
as
I-
a
it's not
young
that far
teenager,
off.
You know what?
like,
I take that blood back. I was early college,
Ah.
so it wasn't that bad.
As like a young teenager, I of course was into Twilight. I could go on rants about the amount of sexism and racism and pure creepiness in Twilight now.
Yeah.
A lot
That,
of anti like
as a,
First Nationer stuff too.
Oh my god. Plus, yeah, there was just so much like creepy stuff that was like super romanticized. Like at some point, Edward didn't want Bella to go see Jacob, so he ripped apart her car to where she couldn't leave her house. And he was like, "This is for your own good." And I was like, at the time when I'm like 13, I'm like, romantic. He loves her. And now I'm like, oh my god, call the cops on that boy. Also, can I say, if I was alive for hundreds of years, not only would I not still be going to high school, because why? When
Yeah.
you
How'd
could,
he
like,
get in?
You could like.
How'd he get in?
How did he get in?
How did he
But
Where's
get
the
in?
also-
roster? That's
but
like,
also, why would
we've
you
had him
not-
for 17 semesters.
Another
Why would you not
Collins?
just like constantly go to colleges and get a ton of like dope ass degrees? But also, I'm 23, and I find the idea right now as a 23-year-old dating an 18, 19-year-old the creepiest, skeeziest thing.
And that
'Cause
gets
they are
worse
too
and
young.
worse. Like,
And yeah, it gets worse and worse. Even if you have the body of an 18-year-old, you've been alive for centuries. You have the brain of a person that is very, very old. You have so much more experience. You're not going to... No reasonable centuries-old human being should look at an 18-year-old and be like, oh, just my kind, just my
yeah.
type.
Like, what do
Jump
they
into
even
it.
talk about? Does Edward know about the Vine? Does he
There's
know
no
about
way
that
he knows
Snappy
about the
Chappy?
Vine. There's no way he knows how to work a Snapchat. He's like, Deborah, what
He's
is
gonna
this?
be like a Luddite who just doesn't understand technology.
He's got like a Nokia flip phone, and that's it. And he's like, what's happening with
I
this?
got the 5G.
How
Is
do
that
I
good?
How do I call someone? I want to order a pizza. Yeah, no, he'd be terrible. It's just, it's real creepy now as an adult. As a teen, it's all romance and everything. Totally Tim Edward. Oh my god. But like as an adult, I could go on for a damn eternity about all the problems with it. But that's a whole nother rant. You want to hear me really rant? Let's talk about Harry Potter.
No, Ritter was talking about a show
That's
he was
not.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
Ritter.
You know what?
Ritter.
Let's go back to
Let's
Ritter.
pick up this train. Everybody, 1, 2, 3. All right, and let's put it back on the
Yeah.
tracks.
We
That was
can't.
your
We
worst
just
bit
can't
you've
go
ever
there
done.
forever. Let's go.
I got the power of editing. They might never know that.
You
Bit.
know what?
I have all the power.
It's totally more fine than it
Alright,
ever
so-
was.
So we got off on a Sword Art tangent. Before that, you were talking about
Okay.
this new show.
Yes,
Yes.
Shield Hero. All right, so let's say some things that it does that Sword Art doesn't do, and vice versa.
Yes.
So you've got bland protagonist, fine. Chick out of nowhere, likes protagonist, fine. This is all first episode, I'm telling you.
Kind of looks like the main dude. I assume the green guy's main dude.
Yeah,
right?
the green guy's main
He
dude.
kind of looks like Link a little bit.
Maybe
it's just the green with the shield.
Sure. That's a good picture though. That
Right
first
here?
one, I believe. Yeah. Or nope to your.
This one.
Yeah, that's a great picture. Okay, nope, back to the other one.
Okay.
Okay, so you see the chick in the background there?
Yeah.
With, like the purpley hair.
Purple
Yes.
hair.
Okay, so the way the story goes is he's in a library and he picks up this book and he's like, "Huh, weird book. It's about these 4 heroes that get summoned to defeat this big evil whatever waves thing." And as he's reading the book, he gets to blank pages. He's like, "Huh, that's weird." And then all of a sudden, poof, he's in the other world.
So it's a never-ending
real
story.
fast.
It really is a never-ending story. Oh my god.
Is that what happens in
Dude,
Yeah,
yes,
basically.
exactly that.
Well, okay.
Go on. Yes.
So real fast transition over to the other world, like that. No garbage, no nothing like that. He's just over there. And there's 3 other dudes with him. And you got yourself a sword dude, a spear dude, a bow dude, and he's the shield dude. So he's like, "Oh, sick, I'm in another world thing, so I get to do all the cool stuff and meet the pretty chicks in my party and do the stuff. Woo. This is going to be great." And it keeps like building it up, and he talks to the other dudes, and it just keeps going. He's like, "Oh, yeah, it's going to be great." Until he gets to the king. And the king's like, "Okay, so I got all these people that are going to be your party members. So everyone pick up who you want to party with." And all the people go, and nobody picks him.
Nice.
And you find out more details later in the story. But one of the chicks, that in fact chick there with purple hair, goes, "Oh, I'll party with you." And he's like, "Oh, sweet, a chick." And so they go, and he goes leveling up, and it's really hard because he can't use weapons. He can only use shields. So he's over here beating balloons and slimes, just like punching them until they die, which they just kind of like poof into.
As
'cause
slimes
it's
do.
a balloon, yeah, or whatever. And she's there helping him, like she's attacking stuff and giving him scraps, and he feeds it to the shield. He just like holds it over the shield and goes in, and he levels. So they work, and they do all this stuff, and they get money, and he buys some armor, and she goes with him or whatever, and they stay in an inn. And he wakes up, and he has no armor and no money. And he wakes up, and guards come and pull him back to the castle. And the chick's like, "Oh, he did all this stuff to me and whatever." And meanwhile, Spear Dude's there wearing the armor he just bought.
Nice.
And he's like, "What are you talking about? This was a gift from her. She found it. She liked it or whatever. She just found it on the street." And so everyone's in league. So he gets like super alienated, loses all his money, loses all his everything. And the king's like, "Good luck. You're a terrible person. This is the worst crime you could have possibly committed in this country. Come back and get good whenever the waves are here and hope you don't die." So he becomes this incredibly jaded and dejected. He's like, "All right, everyone wants to mess with me. I'm going to mess with everyone back. I ain't helping nobody for free. Everything I'm working for, and anybody wants help, they can come pay me for it." So he just gets this like really hardworking mindset. He's like, "Heck with it. I'm doing it. Everyone wants to hate me. Fine. I don't care. I'm still going to power through it." So it's a different take. And then he meets Raccoon Chick, which is the chick with him.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. Ritter, are there furries in this?
She's a demi-human,
Ritter.
which is she is half
Is that
raccoon.
another word
Oh,
for
that's
furry?
that's a thing with every anime. The girl with like the animal ears.
She's-
That's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's a
yeah,
monster.
you're not wrong.
She's a demi-human. She's not a human. She's a monster. Whatever. And you form contracts with people, and the whole thing works like a game. Like he's got a user interface that he can get into, and shows like his level and his stats and all these numbers and stuff. And he's got like life bars of other people if he wants to do it. So he forms a contract with Little Raccoon Chick, and as he gains experience, she gains experience, and vice versa. So he pretty much has her as like, all right, look, she's like all sad and a little slave or whatever, because her parents got killed by monsters in one of the waves that happened. So he knows how to make medicine because that's one of his support things. So he makes her medicine, gets her back to life, and is like, here's a dagger, come with me or we're going killing. And she's like, I don't want to kill things. Like, you're going to live or you're going to die. Come on, we're going killing. And
Very
as,
Conan the Barbarian.
as the demi-human levels up, she grows in stature. Like, she goes from, like, kid that you see there, in, like, 3 episodes, she's that full adult picture that you had in the other one. So she's not a little kid the whole time.
Go back to the other one. I didn't see her.
Yeah, go check that out. Anyway, that's, like,
Oh.
first episode, second episode, I
Oh,
think I
yeah,
got.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So she just becomes like a grown woman.
Exactly. It's
I
explained
like
in one
her,
of the
I like her
episodes.
design.
Yeah, she's a cool raccoon chick.
Yeah.
She gets super good at a sword. She gets like stupid good, and he's just his whole
sword
thing.
and board. Ah,
Oh.
I get it.
So he just supports her, and they go killing stuff.
This is like Gender Bent Shield Knight.
Yeah.
And Shovel Knight.
Sure,
Shelf of
yeah.
shielding.
Shovel Shoot Night. Got anything else you're watching, reading?
No,
looking
it was
at?
a long-winded whatever.
Randy, what you been watching or reading or both?
Oh, well, as you guys know, I spent a long part of my life marathoning Shark Tank on Hulu. I recently finished that, season 10, so I lost a lot of purpose in my life with that. But one thing that I do kind of religiously watch each week is the Will and Grace reboot. I feel like I don't really talk about that a lot. Whenever we first moved up here in the house we live in now, I decided, you know, I'm a gay-loving lady. I'm a gay lady myself. I really want to watch Will and Grace because I remembered I watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes when I was a kid, and I thought it was pretty funny. So I found that the entirety of the old Will and Grace was on Hulu, and absolutely marathoned it in like 2 weeks. I'd watched the entirety of the original, and I was like, sad it's over. And then like a month later, they announced that they were doing a reboot, and I like lost it. Like I was like, man,
So you
what?
went in at the right
Literally
time.
perfect. Oh, perfect timing. I was like full hype. And I've been keeping up on that once a week, and it's actually like really good. They've gotten more like blatant with like their commentary and everything, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And especially in the hectic times we live in.
Yeah, because even in I remember even in the '90s, whenever the original came out, like that was the edge. That's where the edge was.
Oh yeah, it was edgy. There were 2 gay men.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like I know one of the dudes who worked on the show was like, in order to ensure this show was popular, we had to pretend that there might be a chance one day that Will and Grace would get together.
I remember that.
He was like, we didn't want to push it too hard to where people thought it. They were basically straight baiting, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
In this climate of so much queer baiting in shows that a lot of people can rant on forever, but I'm not going to get into that. But we basically straight baited a bit to get the show popular, and I've been loving the reboot. It's so fucking funny. All of them are still so hilarious. Karen Walker, man, that bitch still looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like, she hasn't aged a single day. The rest, like, they don't look that much older because, you know, Hollywood magic. But, fucking Karen, she looks like she just walked straight out of the last episode of Will and Grace and right into the first one without
Nick
a single day
Offerman's a
in
lucky
between.
man.
Nick Offerman is the luckiest man in the world. It's so fucking good. No, but I've been really enjoying that. And the voice blind auditions are back. I feel like I'm watching like the lamest shit, but the voice blind auditions
you're
are back.
like right in that trash heap. Eating
Yeah,
up that good.
I'm full trash heap going. So I was watching some of the new voice audition stuff, and I'll probably continue that. It's just something fun to have on in the background while I do shit.
Yeah.
Mostly I don't watch a lot of. If I watch stuff, like seriously, it's like YouTube.
Yeah.
Like Jablinski, my boy Jablinski, Jack Black.
Good news, we got the Elgato, so there's going to be games this week.
Let's talk about Jack Black's new YouTube channel. He retired whenever he got his star on the Walk of Fame because he was like, fuck you, I'm great. And not really retired because he's now going to do the next Jumanji movie coming out. He's like working towards that now, he says in his most recent video. But
Didn't that already happen?
no, there's another one. They're
Oh,
making another
that one's
one.
getting a sequel?
Yeah, that one's getting a sequel.
Oh my god.
So he's going to be in that one too. And but it has just been so fucking funny watching him. Jesus Christ. He does like this really good like satire of YouTube famous people, but also is just like this hilarious, goofy, like fully wholeheartedly wonderful dad to like his two weird kids. And he's just like so goofy. He just pops up on people on the street and he's like, "What's up? It's me, Jack Black." And they're like, "Holy shit, it's fucking Jack Black."
That's a Jack
and
attack.
he's like, "It's me." And they're like, "Oh my god." And like
Pretty much.
he's just being a weird like dad, and that's about
what
it.
he was always doing, though. Like when he
Oh,
was
yeah.
doing the little bits for Tenacious D. Like, did you ever hear the one where he goes through a drive-thru and he orders everything but like small? He's like, "I want a junior Western bacon cheese, a junior one. And I want a small McFrosty Flurry Shake thing. And I want a small Diet Coke." And like he gets all this stuff, like a ton of stuff, absurdly stuff, and then he turns to Cage, he's like, "Oh man, you got any money?" He's like, "Nope." He's like, "Oh."
I remember that. Oh.
No, he's just like very very wholesome, funny goofball dad with that kind of like satire of like super famous YouTubers and Fortnite players kind of sprinkled in there, and it's just really funny to watch. He's a cool dude. He has ridiculous editing, like one episode ended with a picture of fucking Sal Volcano from Impractical Jokers, which is a show that I was obsessed with really hardcore when Kyle and I first started dating. Like, to an absurd degree, I was obsessed with that show. It's just four best friends that do, like, really stupid stuff in real life and make each other do really stupid things. And if one of them, like, taps out and is like, "I can't do it," they get, like, a punishment and stuff like that. It's just, like, a goofy joke show. Very also wholesome. And just the absurdity of it was enough to make me cry laughing. Just why would he even have that picture of Sal Volcano there? And it was like a Scooby-Doo remix song over it.
Nice.
He's great. He's so just out there, but also very fun. But besides that, I watch a lot of Achievement Hunter. I've been getting more into that since I've now finished Shark Tank and lost goals with my life. So I've been watching more Achievement Hunter on YouTube because I gotta fill that void.
R.I.P. Shark Tank.
But yeah, I mostly just watch trash TV. I'm not even gonna pretend I'm not one of those people.
Just embrace the trash
Oh,
can. I'd be like,
absolutely.
yes.
I gotta
give me
enjoy
your
it.
trashiest.
Sometimes Hannah and I just sit there watching fucking The Voice and we're like, "Look at this bitch's shirt." And like sometimes you just gotta live for yourself like that. You really do.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's all I'm really doing.
Nice. Hey, Kyle.
Oh, what?
What you been watching or reading or both?
Oh, let me tell you.
Ooh.
Let me tell you. Last thing I watched was all 3 seasons of The Expanse.
I'm about ready to jump into that.
If anybody out there has not watched the show and you're a fan of anything sci-fi at all, like if you played the Mass Effect series, if you're just a fan of Star Trek, if you like anything with lasers and space travel and stuff like that, go watch all 3 seasons of The Expanse. It
Are
is
they
so
on-
good.
Hulu or Amazon?
Amazon.
Okay.
That's the reason why I watch them, because it's free with Prime. So if you got Amazon Prime, you can just watch all 3 seasons on there. And I just binged all 3 seasons of that in a week when I was like painting minis and stuff like that.
It's true.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good, man.
That's on my list.
I know you've been reading like the you had read the books.
I
for
read
it?
the first 3.5 books. I did the dumb thing of reading one after another, and it just... I mean, dude can write. It's a great story.
You just
The
burned
books-
out on it?
I just burnt myself out on it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because the books, I don't know how the show did it, but the books always were like, here's the crew, and now they're in a dangerous place. How are they going to get out of this dangerous place? Oh man, there's the threats. Okay, they did it. Oh, here's another dangerous place that they bumbled themselves into.
Well, if you boil it down to that, that's kind of what the show is. But
I can
it
hit.
just grips your attention though. Like it's
Yeah.
so fun.
I know it does. The book does a really cool thing because you have like the main captain, and then you have the detective character.
Yeah.
And they're both views on taking lives is interesting how they play off each other. Because at least in the book, like the detective's more jaded. He's more like, okay, I just gotta do it to get the job done.
Yeah.
And the captain guy's like, I didn't want to do it, but I had to. I feel bad now. And it's just they take that kind of dynamic in a neat place that I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, yeah. Like Miller is such a good character. In that.
Miller,
Miller,
yeah.
the detective guy. Yeah, like the whole thing is based in. It's not like high like space opera sci-fi. It's based around like the solar system. Like humans have colonized Mars and then the asteroid belt, and there's a lot of like power struggles between Mars, which has its like own government at this point, rebelled against Earth like a few years ago, and the belt has its own budding like governmental system coming up.
Yeah.
They're like becoming their own people. And like the belters, as they call them, are like these elongated people that have kind of like started
Bob?
to
Yeah, that's
started
what I
to
was just
evolve,
thinking.
living out in like zero G and whatnot. And they're like the kind of rough and tough like space miner people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they've got all the different societies like fleshed out really well. All the characters in it are so great. Like just give it a shot if you like anything sci-fi.
Yeah, I really like how detailed that universe too is because I remember in the book it's like one of the characters had to make a choice between like having their kid treated with whatever procedure they needed to do to live out in the belt, or were they going to live on Mars or Earth where they didn't need to like do anything medical to like live.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Oh man, so many interesting choices like that in the show too. Like it's very hard to describe a lot of what happens without spoiling the show for you. So if you
Yeah,
you have any interest
in the
it,
books, I imagine they follow the same plot line. Wow,
Yeah.
these characters do not look like how I imagine them in my head.
Really?
Miller a little bit. I assume the older guy with the hat's Miller.
that's Miller, yeah.
I that's what's her face? Man, I'm
Zoe?
blank. Zoe?
Is that her name? I can't remember.
That's not what I was picturing at all. I thought she had like longer hair. But yeah. It's that's a weird thing, like watching a show because you have your picture of your dudes in your head.
Like reading the books and then watching the show, it's just kind of jarring because you have that mental image of what they look like, and then you see the people in the show like, ugh.
But yeah,
It's
I'm
not all what I imagine, but
definitely gonna look into it.
yeah, it's so good, especially after reading the books. Like, hopefully they keep up with the books because I haven't read the books. I don't really know what goes on there. But
You
show is
You said you were wanting to get into audiobooks, right?
yes.
All the books are read by the same author or same actor,
Really?
and he's a really good actor.
Nice. I'll have to give those a shot then.
Does
There's
he
a lot
do
of
different
40K.
voices?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
not
really?
it's not bad though. It's
Oh.
like, and then Miller said blah blah blah, and then the other guy says blah blah blah. It's not like too jarring.
Huh.
What I did was jarring. It's not that.
I see.
See what I did? It's not that.
It's not that.
Okay. You've convinced me.
There's a few like Warhammer like 40K books I've been wanting to read. Not read, but listen to, like the audiobooks.
Yeah.
I've been kind of wanting to get to that because I want to dive into the lore a little bit more.
I-
There's a couple of free books on YouTube that I've listened to, but
Yeah.
I need to dive in some more though.
I would strongly suggest diving in on the Eisenhorn series because that voice actor is also fantastic. They use pretty much the same two voice actors in all of Games Workshops, and they're both really good voice actors.
Yeah, that one like British dude is the
Yeah.
one I've heard the most, and he's really good at it.
I think he's the one who does the Eisenhorn series.
Nice. Like I am actually reading one of the books right now. It's the Gaunt's Ghost Omnibus right now, and it's set in the 40K universe about like a commissar and like his troop of soldiers going through like a lot of stuff in the 40K universe. And it's just a bunch of collection of stories of them.
Just being guardsmen and trying not to die.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm about halfway through that, and once I get done with like the whole, there's like 11 books in that series. Though. The omnibus has like the first 4 or 5 in it. But like once I get through all that series, I want to start diving into some more stuff. And the Eisenhorn one is the first one I'm going to dive into because it sounds so good.
Yeah, anybody out there who's vaguely 40K curious, you're going to see people suggest the Horus Heresy series. I wouldn't. That's like 40 books.
That's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's
It's a trap, and it does the 40K. We'll get to it whenever we get around to my stuff, but it's a bunch of big, tall mutant space marines. Ha ha ha! Bolter kill kill kill.
It's gun porn.
But the Eisenhorn series, it's got intrigue. It's got a lot of action. It gives you a good feeling for the 40K universe. Yeah. Got anything else?
No, about the book I've been reading, the show I watched. The only other thing I watched before that was like nature documentaries. That's kind of my other thing.
Penguins.
Penguin's Blue Planet 2 was like the last one I watched.
Mark.
Yeah, that's pretty much all the shows and books I've been into recently.
Dan,
Me?
what have you been watching or
Yeah.
reading recently?
I hate that.
Yes.
Just say.
Me?
Just do it.
Personally?
go.
I started getting into JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
Oh, I've heard good things of that.
It's pretty good. I'm watching on Hulu. I'm watching it dubbed because I am that kind of scrub that does not watch their anime in the proper language. I don't care. I speak English. I don't like to read when I'm watching things.
It depends on the anime for me. I know I was always a big dub person because I'm the same way. But My Hero Academia, I actually enjoy subbed a million times better. Like, I've always been a dub person, but then I, like, watched one subbed because that's the only way Hannah will watch it because she's one of those snobby scrubs.
Hey, it's fine.
I
You're
watched
allowed to be a scrub.
Then I watched a dubbed
allowed to be a scrub.
episode and I was like, "Oh, this doesn't sound right at all." And we watched it in subbed ever since. So
No, I get the appeal over it. That was just me being cheeky. I understand. Like,
Yeah, of course.
You want the proper voice acting.
No,
You get-
I don't want the proper voice acting. I want the what I'm looking for in a sub actually is so that I get everything that everyone's saying. Like I could acquire the same thing by watching the dub with subtitles. I understand, but the sub is just there, so fine. You know, that's
Yeah.
my whole bit on it.
I like dub more because I do things when I watch stuff like I paint minis.
Same
and
here.
I like.
Yeah.
I
mess
don't.
with
I have to
things.
pay attention so I know what's going on. So I like if it's dubbed, I'm too tempted to go do other things while I'm watching it.
that's fair. That's very fair.
True.
But yeah, JoJo's
Mhm.
a bunch of big, beautiful boys battling. It's great. It's the kind of dumb that's fantastic. It's good dumb.
Nice.
It is just boy porn. It's fantastic.
Oh.
It's all these boys just struggling with their sexuality. It's
Aw.
fantastic. They're not actually.
Oh
but
man,
like,
you got me for a second. I'm
But
always
like,
about
he's
the
super loud. I was
LGBT
just waiting to call him
representation.
out. Yeah, but you got me first.
but look at this. This is like think part 4. I'm not quite there yet. But look at this. Look at these boys. Aren't they beautiful?
Yeah, I love all the boob windows that they all have. That's equality, baby.
That is equality. But no, it does a lot of things neat. It is animated so well. Like, whenever people are like doing their powers, I'm on an IGN. Like, the screen changes. You get all these overlays with like kanji.
Just like magical girl transformations.
Ooh.
Just like Ronin warriors when they would do their super moves. Do you remember that?
I'd never seen it.
Oh, good. That's what I was hoping for.
I'm,
Man, Ronin warriors though. You get that. That's a good.
I know I've seen a lot on Tumblr about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
It's
and
very
yet-
memeable.
Yet
It's
I still
becoming popular.
Don't know a single thing. Actually, I saw this more a couple years ago when I first joined. I joined Tumblr in 2013, but around 2015, I think is when I saw them. I'm not good with dates, but it's been a couple years since JoJo sweat through Tumblr and was like big hot sensation of it. But I still have absolutely no clue what it's about. All the memes, all of the stuff about it, never once gave me a single inkling about what the show was about.
So it's a generational show. It follows the JoJo family.
Mhm.
So the first, so there's only one season on Hulu,
Mhm.
but it's 24 episodes. So basically, it's 2 seasons that they for some reason. So the first 12 follow Jonathan Joestar.
When's it follow Mojo Jojo?
Mojo JoJo.
It does not. That was
Oh,
on
man.
Cartoon Network a long time ago.
Sad.
But yeah. Each arc follows a JoJo on their bizarre adventure.
Oh.
Some of them deal with vampires. Some of them deal with psychic powers. Some have stands. I haven't made it to the stands yet. I
Yep.
can't wait to get to the stands.
Stands are good.
Because I always say enemy stand user.
Right. You know the memes.
I
You
know
know
the
what
memes.
to say.
I know how to say it.
Right.
I just don't know the context.
You know how to pose as a JoJo fan.
I can pose pretty hard.
Right. They also pose very hard. The whole
So-
show is arguably dudes posing and fighting.
I'm pretty
Ooh.
sure it's in this season. You know Emperor's text to speech.
What?
The
Palpatine?
Emperor has a speech text to speech.
Oh, I know what you're
The-
trying to
the
say. Hang
Warhammer.
on a second. I got you.
Say it.
It's if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device.
Text-to-speech.
Oh, that
in the
YouTube.
Custodes.
Yes,
They come
yes.
out and they're like this and they're oiled up.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's a JoJo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
Huh.
so big that on Animemes, r/Animemes, they're like, is that a JoJo reference? Is its own meme template.
I mean, basically.
Right. It's But it's not ever bad. Like, I've seen a few episodes of whenever they have stands and they're fighting the Arcana people. And every episode I watched I thought was decently cool.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
all had a neat...
It's just that first season isn't as gripping as, like, the second season. Well, the first arc.
Yeah, you could say the
'Cause-
same about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Because, I mean, it's just like a boring vampire story. Though Dio is the coolest. How cool is Dio?
Dio is just always the bad guy. You could sum up the whole plot by saying there's a whole bunch of dudes, the Joestar family, going after Dio.
Man, but Dio is so cool. I want to be Dio when I grow up.
He's a cool dude.
I want to get the world. I want to understand what the world actually is. I want to stop time and punch you 853 times.
That's the world, you know.
I know.
I would be really interested in watching JoJo. Like I said, I've heard nothing but good things, even if they had no bearing on what the show was about.
Yeah, it's just style of the anime. But yeah. I purchased a couple Warhammer audiobooks.
Ooh.
Warhammer 40K, not the sword.
Not 40,000.
Warhammer 40,000.
Yes.
The one I got is Blood of Ajax. It's an Ultramarines Primaris Marine book. I was like, oh sweet. I wonder what the Primaris Marines are like. I bet this is going to be cool. That's all right. It's bolter porn. It
Bolter
follows
porn,
two biological brothers that went through the Primaris. Two brothers.
Two biological
Two
brothers.
biological
They were
brothers.
biological before they went through the Primaris thing.
So when they say brother, they actually mean brother.
Oh.
Yeah,
Not
but
like
they-
these other poser brothers over here calling him brother when it's not really his brother. You have the
They're
DNA test.
double brothers.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
One's a chaplain, one's an apothecary, but it's still just kind of boring.
What's a chaplain?
Okay,
Yes.
so a chaplain looks after the spiritual well-being of the Space Marine chapter he's assigned to. He makes
Okay.
sure that everybody doesn't feel the taint of
So
chaos.
he's like a therapist.
To translate, he's
He's a
Captain Hit
chaplain.
Things. He's the guy that you want with your melee dudes. He
On
loves
the
to hit
tabletop,
things,
yeah.
and he makes dudes hit things better.
Oh, okay.
On the tabletop.
Yeah,
Like
there's your translation.
Flufflies, it's like a chaplain in a hospital. It's the spiritual healer, spiritual.
Oh,
Like the whole thing about the 40K universe is that like, all mankind worships the Emperor, who is like this godlike psychic being dude who's like strapped to a chair and can't move or talk or anything like that. He's like pretty much a skeleton, and it's crazy. There's like this crazy like cult religion, galaxy-wide spanning thing like on like worshiping him, and everything must be done in the Emperor's name, and there's like heresy if you don't do anything for the Emperor and whatnot. It's
Yeah.
crazy like that.
Very concise,
Yeah.
yes.
And the other one's just a field medic. And I thought, like, I don't know what I was expecting. I kind of wanted to get a book that had the Primaris Marines because, lore-wise, like, they got new Space Marines because Games Workshop wanted to sell cooler, bigger Space Marine models. So
Of
they kind of just axed their old line of Space Marine models. And
Yeah, not
here-
like anybody had 100 of those models or anything. It's
yeah,
fine.
not like anybody has two entire like battalions in their closet just collecting dust of
Right.
Dark Angels. Anyways, at least we're getting cool models. But yeah, I just wanted to see what their perspective was like. I was hoping it was something different than a tactical Marine. I was hoping they would interact with the oldest Marines, but I didn't. It didn't happen yet in the book, and I kind of fell out because it's just bolter porn.
I
that's a
figure it's
shame.
just
shame.
going to be like in Space Marine, where the Space Marines show up and the guards, they're like, look, it's Space Marines. Look at them in their shiny armor. I went Orky. I don't
You
know
went
why.
Orky.
Anyway, I mean, everyone's British, so whatever. It's going to be the same thing.
No,
There's going
it's-
to be two Space Marines chilling in a thing, and a Primaris is going to walk by and they'll be like, oh, it's a Primaris, look at him. I don't know why I went Australian on that one.
I imagine the thing is like all the Space Marines have already had because the Space Marines can have the Primaris treatment where they become Primaris.
Is there a chance it won't work, or there's people
I
who
think
are
there's probably a chance.
ineligible?
Like
Ineligible?
Marnius Calgar got a new Primaris model recently.
Oh.
Yeah,
He's not the Primarch, but he's the chapter master of the Ultramarine.
yeah.
Is that right?
You guys
Grandmaster.
have lost
Grandmaster.
me.
Yeah.
You guys have lost me. I don't
Sorry,
know what a
that's
Primaris is.
that's some balls deep Warhammer talk.
Yeah,
I need that.
it's anybody who's interested, Google it. If you're not interested, yeah,
If
it's
you're
a
not
big
interested,
money sink.
fuck you.
Whoa,
Oh boy.
Coming from a person who's
I'll just
not
say it's a
interested.
big monetary investment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As is the board game thing too. It's
can-
also a big monetary investment.
Yeah.
If you get too far into it, like you can get a couple board games and play them every once in a
Honestly-
while and whatnot. But if you get as far into it as some people are, including me,
Yeah.
it can be pretty expensive.
And then there's levels above us. But honestly, if you're at all interested in playing 40K, my biggest advice, just play Kill Team. Book costs
Oh, yeah.
$35. You get like a $40 pack of dudes, and there you go.
Yeah.
It's good. It does everything the bigger game does, but without tanks. Yeah.
Just a few dudes on a board, and these shoot one another for like half hour or so, and it's
Yeah.
pretty fun. But we are in the middle of an escalation league.
Yeah, we
thing
are.
at the moment, to where like when you make an army for 40K, you have a allotted amount of points that you can make your army out of, and every little model that you bring is a certain amount of points. And every gun you have is a certain amount of points and stuff too. And we started off at like, what was it, 750 points or something like that?
500 points.
500 points, and we start with like 500 points one week, and the next week goes up 250 points, and goes up another 250 points, and so on and so forth until we get to 2,000. Then we're gonna have a big tournament. We've been doing this every Sunday for the past week, and I've been kind of in and out of 40K for a little bit, and this has been like my most enjoyment I've got out of this hobby so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like it's got me back into it like hardcore, and
It
I
hel-
am like super into this right now.
Sorry. It helps that like that shop is a nice chill shop, and there's a really good group of dudes that play up there. Because Warhammer, like any competitive thing like Magic, you can run into those guys that take the thing too seriously.
Yeah.
Those guys that go, okay, here's $3,000. I'm gonna just buy the hot army of the minute, and then sell it on eBay and buy the next hot army of the minute, and not, invest into the lore or painting.
The overly competitive aspect of things is kind of what I dropped out of Magic after a while too.
Yeah.
It kind of got to where I started going to events and just kind of, I didn't really have anybody to play kitchen table stuff with, which is the main reason why I played it. And I started going to events and stuff and didn't like the people, and I'm like, I'm just going to drop out of this. And trade my cards in for board games and Warhammer minis.
I need to do that. I kind of don't want to trade my cards because a lot of them were my brother's cards whenever he played.
Oh,
So there's a little bit of sentimentality there.
that makes
I
sense.
get that. I wouldn't do it. I'd keep them. You don't have that
But
many.
I don't have that many, but it's also an object that isn't being used.
So
And
what?
You know how I am with objects.
I don't understand.
I don't understand. I have
I'm
a
a-
whole box of completely useless things that only hold like sentimentality to them in my closet. Like it's just nice to kind of hold on to things sometimes.
Some
Right.
things, but other things I don't know. That's why I'm not big in the Funko Pops or having a whole bunch of
Okay,
models.
Funko Pops serve no practical
Hey,
value.
I have
they don't.
one Funko Pop that I love.
Man, we'll get to the Funko Pop rant.
But you can't play a
eventually.
game with
Yeah.
Funko Pops.
You could if you
No, but
wanted to
they're
make a rule
cute.
set.
They're pretty.
There's no miniature rule set for Funko Pops.
There's a miniature rule set for
Stop.
Legos.
Sometimes
Okay,
I
you
just
know what?
buy stuff
I
that
said
like.
stop prematurely.
I don't know. Sometimes you buy stuff you like. I have two little tiny chibi anime girl figurines that I got at a Barnes and Noble when they were in the discount bargain shop. I
Neat.
have no idea what they're from. I don't know who these two girls are. If you were like,
Does
hey,
Hannah know?
no.
Because if Hannah doesn't know,
no.
nobody knows.
Like if you were like, hey, what is this girl from? What show? I'd be like, I don't know. I just thought she was cute. Look at her cute little dress. think she's sweet. Big old eyes.
Sweet
Yeah,
little.
I just got two little tiny. They're little tiny chibi girls. Like they're not creepy or anything.
Yeah.
Like I thought they were really cute
Tasteful.
and adorable. Yeah, they're just
Tastefully chibi.
adorable.
Tasteful chibis.
Yeah.
I just put them on my little thing, and I'm like, look at these sweet little girls, and that's it. I could not tell you anything. I'm a fake anime girl fan.
I mean,
I just like
I'm a
'em.
fake anime boy fan. Like I can tell you all the series I've seen on one hand.
I've watched quite a
yeah.
bit of anime, but it's always goofy stuff. Like I watched Ouran High School Host Club.
That's
and
not goofy.
I-
That's a good.
Oh, It's real good, and I love it. But let me tell you, Kyle watched half an episode, and I thought he was gonna break up with me. He hated it so bad.
Why
Like,
rage?
so
What
much-
happened?
Did not like
Just
it.
so much hatred. He
It's-
thought it was
it's
so
funny.
I didn't
stupid.
like it.
And he despised it. And I watched it twice. I was ready to watch it a third time with him, but he ixnayed that instantly. He was
wasn't
like,
a fan.
"You can't make me."
Strong veto.
Oh yeah, strong hatred of it for some reason. It's just a fun little sweet anime. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
fun. I like the fun sweet stuff. I watched The Devil is a Part Timer.
Also good.
Also good stuff
Is that
like
where the
that.
devil
isn't-
works at McDonald's?
Yeah, the devil gets
Or
transported
is
to
that Devil
another
Man?
universe where he's he just has no powers, and him and his second-hand man he just works at McDonald's, and he's great at it. He's the best McDonald's employee ever. Everyone loves him. The main warrior girl who was just about to murder him before they got transported also gets transported, and she's also just a normal chick here, but she's always fuck you, and he's hey, I'm just trying
She
to
works
work at
like a
McDonald's.
tech support job somehow.
Yeah, she's an IT girl, and he's trying to work at McDonald's. And she comes in and she's yo, fuck you, I'll kill you. And he's hey,
You want
Can
you
I
want
take
fries
your
with that?
order? Like, he's
Nice.
just like chill now. He's like, I don't know. This ain't too bad, I guess. I work at McDonald's. I got a raise the other day. Like,
Right.
that's it.
He's on
just
his way to
chill.
becoming like store manager, and he's so
Yeah.
hyped for it.
Yeah, he
Isn't
becomes
there
like
a-
storm. He's just a great dude.
Isn't there an anime where a dude works at a bookstore but he's a skeleton?
Yeah.
Yeah,
never
like
addressed.
Honya-san or Honda-san or something like that.
This the best friends were talking about it on their podcast.
It's
RIP.
recent, but I haven't seen any of it.
No, I haven't seen anything either. I see screenshots sometimes of people coming in, and that's about it. I see little screenshots of people like, "Give me this," and Skeleton's like, "I got that," and that's all I've seen. I don't know anything else about it.
That's pretty much all you need.
Yeah, you guys got anything else? I think that's a pod. I think that's a podcast.
Yeah, I think that's a
about
wrap.
it. Those are the haps, ladies and gents.
Yeah. So don't know when the next episode is going to come out. Probably a monthly, till I figure out how quickly I can edit. Who knows?
Still got to get our Delgado back, then we can put this up.
Hey,
We can put
bros,
this
no
up.
gaming this week.
Does anybody want to plug out anything? Any YouTube channels,
Hey,
Facebooks?
follow me on my Tumblr if you want. It's a little bit gainmore.tumblr.com, spelled how it sounds, no spaces, no dashes, because I'm not one of those scrubs that push dashes in our URL.
Called out scrubs.
I post memes and social commentary, and honestly, that's it. Sometimes cute cats, sometimes my cats. And yeah, that's all I got, because I don't really. Please don't add me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Don't
I don't
follow
really
me
have
anywhere.
a Twitter or Facebook or anything like that, but we could probably plug like our YouTube channel and stuff that we're going to start up. soon.
Yeah.
Well, we'll plug that when we actually start it, right?
Oh, we can
Yeah.
plug it now,
Yeah.
just in case. Our YouTube and Twitch are what is this show called? PodStop. That's what it's called.
No,
That was the complete
Damn it!
wrong.
Oh, I knew I was gonna screw it up once. Okay.
Follow our show's Twitch and YouTube is not used yet, but eventually it probably will be. It's TableStop.
I didn't show you guys this. Real quick derailment.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna type in twitch.com. It's .tv,
Good.
but it still directs you
Alright,
because
it's fine. It
the
knows.
internet's-
They bought that
it knew
URL,
that
it's
I'm an
like-
old. It knew I was old. It's like, who's this geriatric Twitch? www.twitch.com.
HTTPS.
Oh man, this is on my I got a Twitch channel called I Paint Okay. Don't expect things to be up there. Maybe.
But maybe things might
That's
be
worth
up there.
plugging.
Let's see if I can find it on the normal. Otherwise, this is going to be a huge waste of time, and future me is going to edit this out. Future me is going to edit this out. I can't.
all right. Well then.
But yeah, there's a placeholder with our artwork up. And why is audio playing? Okay.
But yeah, we do have a Twitch and a YouTube set up for our TableStop podcast. Eventually, we will do things like maybe film ourselves playing board games that you can kind of check out, or other kind of like video game, board game related things and such together. But right now, they're kind of inactive. But if you want to go ahead and check them out, give them a follow, do whatever to them for future placeholders. Whenever we do actually put something up there, we'll mention it in whatever podcast we do that month. Of course, we're not just going to drop stuff and then not ever even mention it here, because we got to plug ourselves a bit. But for the moment, they're pretty inactive, but we will get around to that at some point or another.
One day our children's children will look back and be like, oh, they had a YouTube channel. I'm Deckard Kane.
You are Deckard Kane.
Okay, bye.